Welcome, 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 everybody who loves some Heroes of the Storm. Tonight, it is going to be me and Toki B bringing you the Div C finals between Pepegas on Ice Heavy Group Therapy. How are you doing, Toki?
I'm doing pretty good. I'm super excited. This is the Grand Finals. This is what Div C has been all about this entire season, and I'm really looking forward to seeing just how it's going to end and who's going to be the one to come out on top.
Absolutely. Now, there have been some surprises in here so far. Sorry, I gotta mute that. There we go. We've had Pepegas are the eighth. No, Pepegas aren't. Cats on the keyboard, I believe, took down Zul'jin Distillery. But then they were taken down by Pepegas on Ice, Zul'jin Distillery being the number one seed, whereas Heavy Group Therapy has been higher up in the standings. So we've definitely seen some really, really interesting stuff in terms of who's come to the grand final. This isn't a 1 versus 2 like we were just seeing in Div E. If I had to double check where our friends are here in terms of seeding, and I will do that quickly.
Heavy Group Therapy is the third seed. Pepegas on Ice is going to be the fifth seed going into this Grand Final.
So, definitely a division where anyone can win. I see here, not to ruin anybody's fun, if you're going to watch it, silence your stream here. We're just going to do a quick call out to the winners of the Div E because I can see who Peldor is interviewing. So, silence me for 10 seconds here. Congratulations to Really Aggro Ghoul Elites for winning Division E this season. Good for them.
Yeah, I mean, that team has been performing extremely well, so not too surprising. And the best part about this being spoiler-free is the same's true about every team that was in Div E, so still not going to say who ended up winning, but I'm sure it was a fantastic matchup. Div E never failed to... never disappointed. That's the words I was going to put, but...
Yeah, and two great teams that have been around for a while. So congratulations to both of those teams, and congratulations to the winner. So as you can see on your screen, ladies and gentlemen, we do have Pepegas on Ice banning Garden of Terror and Towers of Doom. On the right, Heavy Group Therapy has banned Brax's Holdout and Alterac Pass, one of the smallest maps and one of the largest maps. So game number 1. Now, as the seed that came in taking down the higher seed, Pepegas and Ice were given home, from what I understand. That seems strange to me, but this is where we are. And so the map, they chose map pick. So map pick is from Pepegas and Ice. First pick, first ban will go over to Heavy Group Therapy, but we're going to be on Dragonshire. Does that bring any particular heroes or any particular strategies to mind for you, Toki?
I mean, it's really hard to say because Dragonshire specifically this season has just been changed so many times in terms of the meta. So many teams have brought out so much creativity. I've seen 1-3-1 setups, 3-1-1, 2-1-2, just so many different things that could come out. But one thing that is a bit of consistent is globals have always been strong, specifically in the offlane. So obviously Dahaka is going to be pretty contested, at least I expect will be. And then on the opposite end of that, Falstad, Brightwing, anyone with the global is going to be really solid here. And then the other main thing that I've noticed for this map, in terms of meta, in terms of what teams have really been feeling, is that they've really been enjoying those kind of tanks, those frontliners that just are able to hold a point and are completely immovable from it. So that would be stuff like the Joanna, the ETC, even Chen to some degree, and the occasional Arthas and Tyrael as well. They're not quite as good as engaged tanks compared to all the other main meta tanks, but they are very good at holding down the points.
Really excellent points there, Toki. I would agree with you on all of them. I would add that we often see a 1-3-1 build where the bottom has some kind of character that can help you with vision. So we see Sagara with the creep, or Chromie with the level 1 vision talent, or sometimes even Lunara with the wisp, controlling the Tribush as best as possible. Because if you can commit less resources than your opponent to keeping control of the tri-brush vision, and your tank can be somewhere else, that's just an extra asset. This is another map where I would say we've seen more Zeratul than any of the other maps I've casted. Has that been true for you too, Toki?
I have not had the pleasure of casting a single Zeratul on Dragonshire. I'm going to be honest with you. I've seen it a bit on Infernal Shrines and Towers, never on Dragonshire.
I actually saw that Sunraku in the Div E match. I watched a bit of Peldor before we came on today. Sunraku was playing the Zeratul and was camping the Sonya in the top lane with the Leoric. So honestly, just there can be really interesting comps on this map based on whether you want to do the 1-3-1, whether you want to have a double soaker top mid, which is not as common, or if you want your 4-man to go between bottom and mid. But it's all about effectively using the resources you have and making sure that you're not spending more time, energy, or characters than your opponents are in getting hold of the shrines and then getting the middle. If you can force your opponent to work harder than you have to work, you're likely to come out ahead on Dragonshire.
Yeah, 100%. We've seen one thing I have seen a lot on this map is kind of those musical shrines to put together. Because like a lot of teams, they can control one area, and they're just kind of trying to follow along to make sure they get all both of them, make sure they can try and get all three even just to get that Dragon Knight going, but they end up just kind of doing musical lanes where they're going in a circle, both of them trying to avoid each other because no one wants to start that fight. But whoever's able to move around faster, whoever is able to slow down the opponents more, typically comes out on top in those races because they can kind of take one of the points and get a little bit of extra damage on the fort and shove the wave in a little bit further. And that's kind of what I'll be looking for from these teams today, because once those games get really close, that's really how you end up winning it. Just kind of over-rotating on the macro and just being faster and more tight than the other team.
Absolutely. So yeah, looking forward to what we've seen this year from these teams. Just a couple quick pronunciation notes. This is more to lock it into my memory. You probably already know this. Tomjin told me in the phone call it is a J sound, so it will be Tomjin. And in the interview on Sunday, the person whose name is spelled Neilo, the healer for Heavy Group Theater, told me it was Nalo. I was calling him Nilo, like the name Neil. It is Nilo.
Was I.
So I need to keep that in my head. It's Nilo and not Nalo. Now, they may be switching between some offlaners. Last week, they tried to get all of their different offlaners in, so that included Mobi-Wan, Uga, and Pew, I believe. And I haven't had the chance yet to see Pepegas on Ice in these playoffs, so looking forward to what they have to bring. Again, as a caster and as a fan, hoping for the 5-game series. This is the Div C Finals, so tonight you will see your champions of Div C crowned.
Yeah, and I'm definitely going to be looking forward to this because, I mean, this is just going to be a fantastic matchup. This is what these two teams have been playing for this entire season, and it's been a pretty long season for kind of everyone involved. They've worked hard to get into the finals, and everything is going to be decided today. I'm really curious if this is going to change what they normally pick, because I know a lot of these teams, they do practice some strategies, they do try to keep it hidden away until they need it. And now, in this best-of-5 scenario with everything on the line, I mean, at this rate, we're very lucky. There's going to be patches between today and the start of the next NGS season, at least if we keep this rhythm. So no reason to keep anything locked away. If you're gonna do something fancy, if there's something you've been holding on for a good day, now is the time to use it, and I really hope one of these two teams do bring out something spicy.
So, I mean, on Sunday, in an elimination game when they were down 2-1, Bird busted out the Medivh on Tomb of the Spider Queen, and it was so dangerous. It was so powerful. They won that game 4. They got the Medivh banned, which means they got one of the picks they wanted unbanned, and they come back from being down 2-1 to win 3-2. So honestly, I'm the same as you. I'm hoping we see unusual things, but the draft is coming. Let's get started. The finals of Division C in Season 19 of the Nexus Gaming Series is going to start right now. First band will go over to Heavy Group Therapy, the team in red on your right.
Yeah, and I do expect them to kind of try and get rid of those poke mages, kind of like you talked about earlier. I think Chromie is going to be very high priority for these teams. It's an incredibly strong hero. Like you said, having that extra vision, especially in that level 1 talent, you basically get it immediately. Gives such an advantage when holding those points in. But obviously, outside of that, we're just going to see some pretty standard meta picks, I imagine. Like the Joanna, the Dahaka. But we're going to have to see. Maybe today is the day that these teams have come up with a new strat, and Dragonshire is one of those maps where it's definitely available to kind of come up with something new and really give it a go.
Yeah. HGT is really a team that does their homework on the draft. They tend to ban the thing. Now, Brightwing, just an excellent meta ban, excellent ban for this map in particular. But I'm pretty confident in saying that it's something that Pepegas on Ice likes to run. And from the last series, again, Sunday series, HGT was very targeted in bans that they knew their opponents were really strong or really comfortable on. And so I have no doubt that they got rid of Brightwing not just because she's great on this map, but they want to make the healer work just a little harder than having the fruit fly. We see the Ariel come out, so we're already starting to see a healer choke happening, Toki.
Yeah, and Oriole's a pretty interesting ban now. It did get nerfed again in this latest patch, and I think is definitely now, I wouldn't say bad, but it's no longer that must-have, must-pick hero. It's definitely still incredibly powerful. It has its niche, and that's going to be in those death ball compositions. Whenever you have that big front line, just that big group working together, that's where Oriole really shines, including some strats like the triple front line. So that's kind of what they're going to be trying to ban away here. But like I was saying earlier, the Joanna is still not going to be allowed through, as heavy group therapy is going to be banning that away from Pepegas on Ice.
So interestingly enough, because they're the first pick team, often teams who want a Johanna will try to force the enemy team to ban it if you're first pick. Here, they didn't want to play the Brightwing, and they didn't want to play the Joe. They'd rather prioritize something else at number 1. So with this last ban coming in right now, we're going to see what was so important that HGT wanted to ban away Brightwing and Johanna so they could have it. But an Alarak ban and Bird's mages are enough to strike fear into the hearts of Pepegas on Ice.
Yeah, I'm a little bit surprised about the Alarak ban. I mean, we saw a lot of this hero over for the 10-year anniversary tournament. Not from any of these players. I believe that was mostly from, oh, I can't remember the name right now. I apologize for that, but Chromie was left open, so Bird's definitely going to be locking that in. I mean, I've seen Bird play this Chromie before. It's incredibly powerful. This is just a really solid pick. It's definitely going to be able to give them a lot of pressure, and I'm wondering if there's really anything they can pick that can kind of answer it well. Having some kind of backline dive is always an asset into a Chromie, but we'll have to see what the response is going to be.
So we're going to see Anduin. Anduin, a character Nayla was very comfortable on in the last series, and always just a great pick. Big heals, probably the highest throughput after Ariel, and Falstad giving them a global. So 2 picks that allow them to not commit to a composition yet, which means their opposition is really going to have to think about what they want to ban. On the flip side, a Nubrak, an excellent tank in tight spaces, which the shrines are, and Malfurion gives you the ability to heal everyone at once. Of course, his one weakness being he's not very mobile. If you can catch a Malfurion whose positioning isn't exactly what it needs to be, you can really set the opposing team back. So Nayla's positioning is going to be very, very important to the heavy group therapy team fight.
Yeah, but on the flip side, this Malfurion's also going to be just giving Bird more and more mana, so doesn't really need to worry too much about it. Just going to be able to fully spam out those Dragon's Breaths, those Sandblasts. Going to be able to really start dishing out the damage.
And if he's if he's keeping the regrowth onto a Nubrak consistently before he engages, he doesn't have to be next to the Nubrak to heal him, which is also just a really powerful part of Malfurion's kit. But the Vala will get banned away, a good character to match up with Chromie. W build on this map specifically, just for short trades instead of longer trades, can turn Vala Chromie into, oh, 2 people stepped on the shrine, they're both dead now. So that's gone, the Junkrat is gone, which fantastic choice. The mines and traps are so annoying in these bushes. So I think I'm really liking the ban strategy from both teams. They're looking at what might prevent what they'd like to do and just removing them. But we're going to see a Mei come out. I know Ding Dong is known for his Mei from Bad Rats, the team just eliminated. I did not know Tomjin was also a Chinese scientist enjoyer.
Yeah, I mean, that's a good way to put it, but I am a little bit interested about this Mei pick as well. Now, I'm hoping that since they did lock it in, that the Tassadar is going to be going with the Psionic Storm build. It pairs incredibly well with the Blizzard. You're able to get just so much value out of those, but the Mei was interesting, but we have a Tracer locked in for Exian.
And the Deathwing ostensibly off lane, but Falstad and Deathwing can kind of... So Deathwing will kind of play the role as the bottom goalie. Now, usually Heavy Group Therapy likes to bring in Moby-Wan for his Dahaka because it's probably his best character. But this time it's Uga. I wonder if they pivoted away from a different offlaner. But yeah, Chromie Tracer is really going to push Anduin to make sure he hasn't used his healing in inopportune spaces. These are our drafts, ladies and gentlemen. We'll put you on the in-game. You're welcome to enjoy watching the teams load in with Toki and I. But this is where we're at. And if you don't mind doing the honors, why don't you introduce the members of Pepegas on Ice once we load in? Just to get us started here.
Yeah, I mean, it would be my absolute pleasure, but... yeah, just need to give
but
a
Nalo
little
hates
bit of
his
time to
internet.
get
Yeah,
loaded.
he needs to pay his internet bill.
I mean, internet's expensive. It's not worth it, but either way, on the blue side, we have Pepegas on Ice. It's going to be Tomjen playing the Mei. P is going to be playing the Anduin. Tikor going to be playing the Deathwing. Raptor on the Falstad. And Sylphrenia on the Tassadar.
Awesome. And, of course, the immediate vision telling them what Chromie has picked. On the right, we have Heavy Group Therapy there wearing the red trunks. We've got Nalo on the Malfurion. Uga is on Dahaka. Exyun is playing Tracer. Teal has brought a Nubarak. And Bird is playing the wannabe dragon, Chromie.
Yeah, and I'm already seeing some pretty interesting picks on the talents here. It is going to be Psy Infusion, so most likely it will be that Psy Storm build. And more importantly, it's Frequent Flyer locked in for Raptor. So this is going to be that infinitely scaling auto attack build coming in from the Falstad. It's not going to be as strong early. I think Hammerang does have a little bit more immediate pressure, but will scale incredibly well into the late game.
And we do also see the Ice Storm. So the increased stun and damage from Tomjin's Blizzard. We also have Power Word Shield. Tom can take a lot of damage, and Exyun has already built up a bomb, but this early, Tracer's damage is mostly Tickle style. As we will see, it will be the Deathwing versus Dahaka in the top. And Dahaka is a character that doesn't provide a lot of duelist damage. And so this will actually work out fine for the Deathwing to end up against him. We have the Draconic Might for Deathwing, so his basic attacks will heal him. The Psy Infusion giving an additional 33% makes such a difference in keeping safe, especially against Chromie. And Tracer too, I mean, it means you just don't have to step as far forward to clear waves. So I can see Sylphrenia having picked this for that range. Time Walker's Pursuit, as we already saw from the Chromie. Tracer rounds, so a more shooty pew build from Tracer. The Emerald Dreams, which is the only competitive talent. Nerubian Armor, and the Zoom Dahaka Enhanced Agility build rounds out all of our #1 talents. So pre-4, no one has died. No one getting really aggressive yet. But both shrines with the early pressure and the stacking damage of the members of Heavy Group Therapy means Pepegas on Ice have been able to control both of them, but Tracer is defending the statue in the middle, so they're not feeling a lot of pressure to recapture these shrines at this point.
Yeah, and I don't think they really do need to worry about that quite yet. I mean, both sides have already grabbed their camps. They already have good mid-priority. Exian also able to keep Raptor there, and I actually think that's really solid from the Tracer because obviously with with Frequent Flyer, they do want to look for more as the engage
They're
comes
looking
in.
to engage, and they did catch him. They'd been waiting in that bush for Raptor to make a mistake, and I wouldn't even say he made a mistake, but they waited for Teal's Burrow Charge range to be enough, and they blew away the Dwarf on a Duck, and he sent back to the Hall of Storms to try again.
Yeah, I mean, that's a solid first blood to get as well. But like I was saying, just kind of keeping this Falstad up behind the fort behind the wall. It prevents a lot of those stacks from coming through from Frequent Flyer. And Exion's just kind of constantly putting on that pressure. Will definitely win in quick trades, so pretty solid pick there.
They're jumping onto Tomjin here. He is able to use the ice to keep himself safe for the moment and does manage to use the icing slide away to keep himself safe. The Shrine of the Sun at the top has been recaptured by Dahaka, but in the bottom, Pepegas on ice have recaptured. So it's going to be going back to macro pressure. Exune and Teal showing they have a lot of synergy together, and if Teal can hit a burrow charge or an impale, it looks like Nalo is completely ready to follow up with the nap time route that will give either Chromie or, especially after 7, once she gets the upgrade to her damage for Tracer, they're just looking to finish people off, to try and teach everyone on the map you're not safe. So Fernia's really far up. They jump on Peas, but there's the wall. They pull it, but the roots are in perfectly. They blow up Tassadar. Peas gets low, but he manages to get behind his wall in time. And this is the scary part about facing this combination of Malfurion, Tracer, and a Nubarak. If they start to lock you down and they don't have, and their cooldowns are still available, you're probably gonna die, Togi.
Yeah, but that was a really solid predict from Nalo on those entangling roots. They were aware that there is going to be that leap of faith available, so just toss those entangling roots right on top of the Anduin. So even though the Tassadar was almost saved, but still ended up getting rooted up, and from then on they could just continue following up Teal with an absolutely fantastic stun to finish off that kill.
Tikor got to push pretty far in the top lane. In the bottom, oh my goodness, Chromie does get caught out attempting to defend the bottom here. But in the top, Tikor had pushed really far in on Deathwing, and the gank came. And because he's not as susceptible to the CC, he was able to walk away, but he was forced to leave at about half health as he walked toward the mid lane trying to get away, and he was forced to use his Cataclysm to get out. A fairly long cooldown. I think it's about 2 minutes. So Tikor will not have his ultimate for 45 more seconds. They're putting a lot of damage on him, but again, none of this. I think Teal wasn't going in there to try and CC. He was trying to body block with the burrow charge. But Tikor just manages to get away safely as the Siege Giants are recaptured by Pepegas on ice, which hasn't been captured by Heavy Group Therapy at the moment. So they're going to have to take a break and clear these Giants away from their bottom gate. Tom's in a rough position here. It does get rooted, I believe. No, his Ice Block is still available. The Cryo Freeze. A great pull there, even with the slowing sands. Peas has been on top of these Anduin pulls. Going forward, this is going to be one of the few things that can get people out of this very strong CC chain that it appears Heavy Group Therapy are very comfortable on.
Yeah, and they've been stacking it perfectly a lot of the time with less experienced teams, and not to say necessarily bad players, but just teams that haven't had the chance to build the synergy. They kind of try stacking up CC together, but right now Heavy Group Therapy, they are layering it perfectly. Very little downtime, but a fight starting to brew.
Tikor comes down, and now it's a 5v4 in the bottom lane. Dahaka has not yet chosen to dig in. Teal is gusted into the bottom shrine, but Burrow charges out, which will keep him safe. Will he get stuck in the blizzard? Oh, in the back! Falstad gets chased down by Exune's Tracer. Tomjin is incredibly low. Exune putting piles of damage on. A good bellowing roar there from Tikor. He's going to hit two. Malfurion's incredibly low, gets caught by the wall, and he is going to die. The light bulb comes out. Teal manages to get out with the burrow charge. Dahaka is going to come down, and he's looking for the grab onto Noah. Good sidestep from Peas will keep him alive. Tomjin's incredibly low. The cocoon is out onto the Sophronia, but another fantastic pull from Peas will keep Tassadar safe for now. Raptors here. Yoon forced to use a blink to get away.
And that started.
Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, and that started off pretty well for Heavy Group Therapy, but Pepegas on ice, they've managed to just stand strong. They stood together, and between Peas and Tomjin, they were just able to survive forever. And now, because they have the priority on the way back, they're just going to take this wall for themselves, and now they're going to have really solid control of this bottom lane.
And they really came together. After the Falstad went down, they didn't panic. They used their cooldowns very intelligently to get a return kill, to keep the pressure up. And one thing Tracer and Chromie aren't very strong at, holding the point on their own. They're very squishy characters who do not like to be stuck in tight places.
Yeah, and right now, at least Heavy Group Therapy, they're going to be able to retake the control of this shrine over in the bot side, and actually even going to be able to retake control over onto this wall. So, I mean, still an incredibly even game. There's barely any difference in terms of the experience between these two teams, but Ice Wall going to be thrown down.
They do catch the Malfurion in it, and they're going to focus on Nalo. Out comes a black hole, but it actually misses him while the wall comes down. Cocoon has gone down on Anduin, and both teams have so many disengage tools that not only is nobody dead, after 3 ultimates used on one side and 2 on the other, we still have pretty much full health bars, Toki. A fantastic engage on the burrow charge, though. They're looking to catch Sophernia, and she's blown away by the sandblast of Chromie. A fantastic route there comes out from Peas, which will get Teal down to about half health as Raptor is autoing away onto Teal. But they now have control over both shrines, and Tracer's going mid to collect the Dragon Knight that they have earned.
Yeah, and it's surprising that they're the ones that managed to keep control of it. Tyker has definitely been having most of the priority in the top lane, most of the pressure in the top lane. But I guess it makes sense. They had a lot of pressure in the mid lane with that Tracer. Their bottom lane has definitely been winning out on those fights. Bird just being that artillery mage, able to completely zone everyone off the entire area. And now they're kind of doing the two-pronged attack, hitting both this bottom fort and, again, at the same time, the Tracer just gotta be on that Dragon Knight, just taking away this mid fort, and looks like they'll be able to take it down.
While also putting about half damage, at least so far, on the bottom fort as well. Now, Uga had been waiting in the bush out of Tikor's eyes in case he needed to be able to dig down, but nobody actually needed the Dahaka's support, so he stayed on top. Now he's actually walked bottom, while Tracer takes the Dragon Knight left with its 20 seconds and 33% to see if they can take the top gate as well. But in the bottom, an engage is happening. It is a 4 versus 0 as the Twilight Dream comes out. They have silenced Raptor, but so much damage is coming out of the Furion. He stepped up to do the Twilight Dream, and that means he is killable. May with the final hit there. Teal impale onto Tomjin means he will get out. Now Tracer did manage to destroy the wall in the top while that was happening, but it did cost them one druid.
Yeah, there's one little mechanical thing I actually noticed coming out from Bird there. Now, not to take anything away from Pepegas on ice, that CC layering was absolutely perfect on top of the ice wall, and that's actually what kind of gave Bird the opening. Bird would throw the time trap right underneath whoever's caught on the ice wall, because as soon as the ice wall expires, anyone who's practiced with the Mei is just ready to start throwing all their damage skill shots in. But Bird is going to be able to prevent at least that first salvo with a time trap.
Now, Pepegas and Ice had gone for the bottom camp. They'd only gotten half of it, but now the Hawker does take down. Peas pops the light bomb, but everyone gets out of space in time. Teal attempts the burrow charge engage, but the black hole will disengage, hitting 3. Sophernia takes a ton of damage from the Dragon's Breath, but the only one dying this time is the Anduin. Now,
yeah, and it's interesting if that was worth it, because they did manage to get the rotation, but Tyker just getting free time onto that top lane forward, onto the top lane wall, and a lot of that structure is already going to be gone.
And interesting choices. Heavy Group Therapy decided with the pressure they had to take their opponent's siege camp, which will put damage on the bottom fort until it's dealt with, but realizing they couldn't go there, Pepegas on Ice made the call to take the bottom bruiser, which will force Chromie to answer. Tomlin's taking a ton of damage. Tikor's not Tikor. Sophernia was cocooned, and oh, the blink means Yoon does not get caught by Raptor's damage. They will kill Mei. These siege giants are still chucking, and that is now 2 buildings down. That was very smart. They waited. They didn't worry about the bruiser camp until it was time to worry about the bruiser camp, and it hasn't managed to get any damage. So some really, really clean shot calling from the members of Heavy Group Therapy so far.
Yeah, no hesitation on their plays, and that's kind of the mark of a championship team. I mean, both of these teams are definitely deserving to be here, and that's kind of where you can start seeing it, where they do not hesitate. A call is made, whether they agree with it or whether they don't, they are going to go in full force, and this invade got to be a good example of that.
The Impale does hit Sophernia. The root comes out from Nalo, but no damage is here. And Raptor will throw the Mighty Gust just to make sure. Now the Slowing Sands is down. Tomjin, thinking about coming in, does decide to leave as Yoon was providing flank pressure here. Only 18 stacks so far on the frequent flyer, and you've got to be feeling like Raptor had hoped he'd be a little more free to kill more waves and be a little more in command, have a little more damage by, 12.5 minutes into the game.
Yeah, and I think a lot of that credit has to go over to Exian. Exian has just been absolutely making sure the Raptor does not have a chance to roam around the map, and with that, it's going to prevent a lot of the damage that this Falstad's going to be normally able to accrue over this time. And with this being the map that it is, it's pretty snowbally. So once again, Exion going to be able to take the Dragon Knight, though this time might not be able to get as much value.
Oh, that's why they drafted May, for the snowbally map. They wanted to have the, you know, the experience of snow. Yeah.
Yeah, that was definitely their strategy going in.
Taking a quick look at alts, even though we've seen all of them, we do have the Ice Wall for May, Light Bomb, Bellowing Roar, the Black Hole, so not the Archon, and Mighty Gust. We've also seen the Slowing Sands, the Quantum Spikes, so the percent health damage from the Tracer, the Twilight Dream Cocoon, and Isolation from Dahaka. Whenever I'm watching, I do like it when the casters quickly go over the alts because I can be a bit dumb and not remember what they're called, so that's there. The top keep, or top fort, will go down as well. So now there are no fort buildings, and this entire map is painted red at the moment. And Pepegas on Ice, they have every opportunity to still win this game, but their abilities to capture the shrines are looking more and more dangerous all the time. They don't have an immediate tap, and they don't always have vision now. With these walls also being destroyed in the top and bottom lane. They didn't just destroy the necessary parts of the walls, they also took out the vision parts of the walls. Now, good vision checking there by T-Core. They will not be surprised by a teal in a bush.
Yeah, and it's also important to note that when you have all three of these forts, it's not just the vision and the well that you get from it, it's also the priority, as Isla just gonna go wide, so hopefully gonna get started there, but when you have those forts down, when you do that little ping-ponging you do with those waves, Heavy Group Therapy is going to have the opportunity to shove it in so much further. It's not going to be just that little bit close to the shrine. It's going to bring them all the way back, almost entirely to their base, and we're even seeing it right now. Exion already, if the fort was still there, Exion could not be here, but instead they're able to apply this forward pressure. They're going to be able to apply just that kind of vision as well, because now their minions can go further. They're gonna have the vision from those minions, and it makes traversing the map a lot safer and easier for Heavy Group Therapy.
They've hit 20 now, and they are looking to get aggressive as their opponents have not. So we do have the Unraveling, reducing armor for the Chromie, get stuffed. So an additional, or the stronger punch from Tracer. We've got the Lunar Shower Moonfire for Malfurion, Rewind for Nubrak, and Essence Claws. I don't think I've seen anyone take this. Basic attacks slow the target by 20%. If the target's a hero, he gains Essence. So if Dahaka autos, he can get his trade up even without minions dying. That's good to know. I've really only seen Apex Predator and then the alt improvements, so I've actually never seen the Essence Claws.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely an interesting pick here, but I think it makes a lot of sense, especially into the Deathwing. There's going to be a lot of long trades just between those two, and if Uga wants to be able to kind of solo out in that lane, just trade 1v1, might be one of the best talents. Obviously, the damage is going to be low, but at least can just look to out-sustain Tyker on this Deathwing and try to win from there.
So the 5-man of Pepegas and Ice are moving together, and they can hit 20s as well. 20s do come in. We see the big one, the Snowblind, doing increased area damage every, 15 seconds for the May. Censure, the usual Chastise upgrade. Arrival of a God for Deathwing, Forest Barrier, and the Wind Tunnel. What does Arrival of a God do? The landing damage is increased, definitely. A lot of damage is coming down on the T-Core now, an absolute ton. He does get the Bellowing Roar. They don't quite manage to catch Uga, and in this distraction time, Chromie grabbed the Dragon Knight. There is a ton to Tom Jim, but a fantastic pull by from Peas means he will be safe. In the meantime, T-Core has gone down to Havel. He jumps onto Peas, and the wall comes out. Also, the Cocoon comes out as well. Now, the Blizzard does hit Nalo, but they're unable to do anything. They look, oh, the tongue just mistimed from Uga as they could not grab the May there. Out comes a Snowball, and it does a good chunk to the Tracer there, actually. But now they're focusing on the bottom keep. It's taking a lot of damage as the minions come in as well. The Forest Wall comes out from Tassadar, but cannot save the keep from the minion push as the Dragon Knight batters away uncontested. They have to mount a final fight here, Toki.
Yeah, they have to defend, and they're going to be trying right now. So much damage starting to come through. Uga could be their target, but it's so hard to lock down this Dahaka. So hard to get a fight going with the team composition that they have.
Sorry for the interruption. Raptor looking for the perfect wind tunnel. Doesn't really hit it. Just desperate to find the right kind. Now, Uga does get caught between the blizzard and the black hole, and he will die. Raptor down to 80 hit points, but will just get out. But with the death of their Zerg Primarch, this will force the back from Heavy Group Therapy. For now, Pepegas on Ice live for another day.
And the fact that they had the level 20s now is going to make things a lot better, but looks like another fight brewing.
Cocoon does come out onto the Mei. For a moment, Trace thought about staying until they saw the rest of Pepegas on Ice coming in. So the name of the game now for Heavy Group Therapy is delay for about 30 seconds. Wherever they are, Dahaka can join. They're a little too fast for this to be grabbed, but the Ice Bomb will come out, the Ice Wall. So the Light Bomb and the Ice Wall both come out. They aren't able to catch anyone. That is a couple of decently long cooldowns gone, and Dahaka's back in 15 seconds. So now, well, actually, we're fairly even on ults. There's 3 ults even on both sides now, essentially. There are mercenaries on the core, but those should be cleared before they do any more than shield damage.
Yeah, but those cannons do get stronger and stronger as we head later into the game. But I do like that Pepegas on Ice, they were looking for that extra play. They may have tried reaching a little bit too far and unfortunately weren't able to find anyone, but it's that proactivity that I like to see. And they were still able to go back. They were still able to collect their bruiser camp. And yes, they used a couple of their heroics, but there's nothing to fight over right now. The shrines are not active, and they're going to be active now in 30 seconds. But by that point, they're going to have Light Bomb. They're going to have Ice Wall. So they can just recycle the play and just try again.
Heavy Group Therapy looking for rotational inefficiencies to try and win. On the flip side, Pepegas and Ice just moving as a team, knowing that if anyone tries to get CC'd, Anduin can pull and T-Core won't be affected. So both teams using their heroes' unique strengths to try and find ways to get a victory. Now, Dahaka is top, but he can dig. He will dig down. He comes to the forward bush, looking at Peas, but T-Core will pop the bellowing roar to keep his healer safe.
Yeah, but that's going to be a major cooldown used, and Heavy Group Therapy, by bringing everyone down here, as never mind the Ice Wall coming out.
It will once again catch. They have good timing. Nemo is stuck. He gets killed. The wall, but out will come the Light Bomb, and it stuns Teal, but they're trying to kill the Ando, and he gets the isolation on him. He will die. It's a healer for a healer. Raptor will go down as well in the fall stab. The Cataclysm will come out from T-Core to save himself, and the wall will stop Teal. It looks like they want to go for the end, but I'm kind of surprised they're not going for Dragon Knight at this point in time.
I think when you have a 4-on-3, you have to go for it. Dragon Knight, by the time they get it, it's going to be 5-on-5 again. They're going to lose their advantage.
Good cryo freeze, but Tomjin does get caught. Great drag by Uga. That is the end, and this will be the end of game number 1. T-Core with the Molten Flame putting tons of damage on Uga, but that Dahaka can sustain forever. T-Core just trying to teach his lane opponent that he is not being intimidated, but his core does get intimidated. Game 1 will go to Heavy Group Therapy between Pepegas on Ice and Heavy Group Therapy. GG.
Yeah, I mean, really clean game from Pepegas on Ice. From Heavy Group Therapy. Pepegas on Ice did put up a couple of pretty solid fights, but I want to really give shout-outs to Exion that game. I was talking about Bird playing the Chromie early on in the draft a lot, but this Tracer is not something I've seen Exion play before, but they performed incredibly well. I just completely shut down the fall set. I mean, Raptor's down to 20k damage, and I think that's just because Exion just never let them approach the team fights themselves. And then at the end there, they did lose Nalo right at the start of the fight, but again, Exion just gonna be there in the back, just targeting Peas, this time with the help of Tilanuga, and just having that kind of triple, the Goon Squad, I guess, just coming to the back line, taking down the healer really made it easy for them to end the game there.
And really smart, when Pepegas and Ice focused on the healer, Uga found his way. He doesn't have contagion, so he can only hit one person with isolation. He waited for his moment, landed it on Peas, and he done such a great job saving people. No opportunity to do so when you got a big glob of Dahaka gloop stuck to your cranium. Looking quick at builds. I don't know enough about Mei to say if this is a normal one, but this is a Mei build, guys. Looks pretty standard. Anduin, a Molten Flame or the Fire Breath Deathwing build is here as well. A bit of a mixed bag out of Sophronius Tasser. A bit of a W build with some Thermal Lance in there. And the auto attack Raptor. And as you said, the Falstad's auto attack, Exune putting that constant tracer pressure on Falstad. I find Falstad and Lunara often find a similar space in that it's really hard to hit a good tracer with their skill shots, and your autos don't outtrade her autos, especially if she has a bomb, because you have such a small base hit pool. So just fantastic play from Exune as a response to the Falstad, and it did pressure him from getting the stacks he would have wanted. And I wonder if you told him which way the game was going to go, if Raptor would, given the chance to do so again, if he would have taken the Gathering Storm Q build.
I think that Frequent Flyer was the right call. I think maybe if they were going to play differently, Raptor shouldn't be the one holding mid lane. Potentially even swapping in Tychor. Because with that vast amounts of armor, Exune just wouldn't be able to completely go through the Deathwing. And Raptor would be able to kind of soak up all of the minions on the top side, gain stacks there, even fly down to the mid lane, just collect stacks there as well, kind of relieve the pressure on Tychor. Falstad does fine into Dahaka. Like we talked about early, Dahaka doesn't really deal a ton of damage. It's a really strong double soaker. It's really good at pushing in waves. But when it comes to the dueling potential, it isn't that strong. So if you're on the Falstad and you're looking to just scale up to the late game, just become an absolute unstoppable hyper carry, I think they could have looked to try and set their lanes up that way.
Yeah, I think they could have put a lot more pressure onto the top lane Dahaka. Now, granted, you're not always guaranteed going to get a kill, but even if you can pressure him away, make his team try to respond to that instead of being that. Because again, Chromium Tracer did kind of stick a bottom with Exune sometimes rotating mid to get Falstad, but if you kind of pull the Tracer to constantly be out of that combo, maybe they can't just sit mid and try to farm your squishies. But a funny comment from the chat here, just going to mention it, Malfurion got caught in the ice wall and then got fire breathed by the, or molten flamed by the Deathwing, and the commenter tells us, Malfurion just read the Song of Ice and Fire.
Yeah, I mean, that's exactly what happened there.
Absolutely true. We're going to get map number 2, and we are traveling, my friend Toki, to Cursed Hollow. Now, one of my personal favorite maps. I love the tight choke points. I love the, should we take boss now, or is that a crazy idea? A lot of interesting stuff when we talk about the opportunities on Cursed Hollow.
Yeah, it's definitely another macro-centered map. It's incredibly tall, incredibly wide. So again, those globals are definitely going to be very important for the draft. So wouldn't be surprised to once again see the Dahaka locked in. And speaking of the Dahaka, Heavy Group Therapy, it does look like they are going to be doing a roster swap here. We do see Moby1 sitting currently in the lobby. We assume it's for Uga. You said Moby1 is typically one of the offlaners for this team?
Yeah, Moby1 and Pew Pew have often get swapped in as well. You're absolutely right. Dahaka is great. And as good as Uga's was, Moby1's is even more on point, so they usually bring him in for that specifically. When I asked them after the last series if they, just wanted to get everyone in a game, they say they usually pick their offlaner based on the map and which hero picks and which playstyle they most want to see. Now, I don't know if anyone on these two teams plays it, but this is also a fantastic map for pseudo-globals. So your Abathurs, your Lost Vikings, if you have people who like to bring out things, you want to try and rattle your opponents with weird stuff, this is a map that can allow you to do so with those characters that cover a lot of space, not just from hopping on their mountain going there. We'll also see the Wangwin come in, and it looks like they're coming in for the healer. We don't see Nalo here.
Yeah, that's going to be a pretty interesting substitution as well. Now, I'm wondering if they have different hero pools as well for the healer role.
Yeah.
If maybe it's also possible that the Wangwin will be filling in at a different role, and they're going to move either Bird or Teal maybe down to healer, or I shouldn't say down. Around to healer.
Over to healer. And it's interesting perspective. Like, they have so much confidence in their teammates and their different teammates that, I mean, normally for me, if I was captain of a team, if you win a game against a pretty good opponent, I'm not thinking, all right, let's switch up the members. But it would seem like Heavy Group Therapy are so comfortable with all their members, they're not concerned that they're going to lose by bringing in different people. They're not worried that the chemistry is going to be affected. you know, we like this map, we like these guys on this map, let's do it.
Yeah, and it just shows kind of like how well they trust in each other, how well they've played together. And it also shows the mental fortitude that heavy group therapy has. Because kind of like you mentioned, you want to hold that momentum. They just won a game, and they won it pretty cleanly, if I can't say that. Granted, it is Dragonshire. Once you get that early lead, it is super hard to come back on that map. But they had the momentum, and instead of keeping the exact same roster, they're going to swap it up. And that just shows they know these players. They know what they want with each map, and they're able to separate each map from the last. And on a win, you won't get quite as much momentum, but later on, in terms of being a championship team, you want that consistency, and that mentality will definitely be able to bring you the consistency.
I have to say that I don't feel like either team did a poor job. I was trying to think, is there anything that I would have been like, maybe this could be cleaned up and improved for Pepegas? I don't really feel like that's the case. I feel like the difference between the two teams, and definitely feel free to correct me if you saw it differently, but I feel like the difference between the two teams in that game one specifically was that Heavy Group Therapy was looking to create their own opportunities, and it seemed like Pepegas were kind of waiting to see if a mistake would happen. They were good at punishing the rare mistakes of Heavy Group Therapy, but Heavy Group Therapy was trying to force Pepegas to make mistakes, and anytime they saw an opening, they took it. And I think if you want to win the championship, you have to have the mindset, we're going to force you into a mistake, and then we'll punish you when you make it. We're going into draft of game number 2.
Yeah, to kind of talk about that point, though, I do think Pepegas on ice, just with the way their draft was set up, it's not really a punished draft. They wanted to have a slow game. They wanted to scale. I don't think they ever really wanted to win the Dragon Knight, at least not early on. They just wanted to make sure that Heavy Group Therapy weren't able to take it. And I think with Exion, if Exion was not completely shutting down Raptor, it would have worked for them. And then once they started getting those stacks, they do scale incredibly well with the roster they had. They can just wait for an ice wall to land. And once the ice wall landed, we even saw that they were able to completely one-hit nail. So I think that was the strategy that Pepegas on ice brought in. But when you lose the early game on Dragonshire, like I said a couple times now, it's one of the hardest maps to come back on. The pressure you get, the fact that you need all 3 lanes under your control in order to get an objective, it's very difficult when you're on the back foot.
Yeah, you're right. They were really hammering Nalo. I don't get to play this series because everyone bans the Brightwing because I'm a tiny little murderer. The Fruit Fly will be removed once again. Another huge map that she can be used to clear waves in, so smart pick. The Vala once again banned. Now, I can't say for sure. I feel like Vala would be an Exune pick, and Exune does look very, very good on auto attackers. So it looks like they're trying to take away. I think we'd say Vala is maybe one of the safer auto attackers in the pool. I think they're going to try and force Exune onto something a little riskier in the hopes that they can punish, maybe with a draft that can pick off people a little more easily. The Deathwing will get banned as well, and I do think T-Core made things a little more interesting, being able to show up when he did, and that's just not something Heavy Group Therapy wants to deal with. They banned it every time against Bad Rats as well.
Yeah, makes sense. But speaking a little bit about that Vala, it is definitely an Exion pick, and you were talking about Birds Medieval. Looks like it's not going to be able to come out this game. They've definitely done their homework, but I mean, it is the finals. This is when it needs to be done. But again,
yet another bird gets picked. Exune gets the dwarf on a duck, Toki.
Yeah, and it's going to be able to bring in a lot of damage. And again, Cursed Hollow, this is another one of those maps. You can go Gathering Storm, you can go Frequent Flyer. It really depends on the team composition, on what your role is going to be that game. And Exion, like, again, in that 10-year anniversary tournament, Exion played amazingly. That Vala specifically was one of the most dangerous looking Valas of the entire day, and I don't say that lightly because there was a lot of high skill going on, and not surprising to see it getting banned away.
So we'll see Tomjit on the Johanna this time. This was banned. Now her strength in the tight chokes and narrow areas of this map, that Condemn will find a ton of value. And once again, P's Anduin looked really strong. Not surprised to see it again. But we have the Falstad to Haka. do you think we're going to see more? Now, last time they seemed really happy to fight. It looks like they're looking for more of a macro team comp this time. Falset to Haka mean you can push waves, get prio, and wait till the very last minute to fight. And with tools like Isolation and the Mighty Gust, you can actually wait until your opponent has set up in the area before you show up and start causing disruption.
We'll see. With the Nubrak, it's kind of hard to play that style, though. Whenever you pick a Nubrak, you want to go in, you want to dive. Probably the single best engage tank in the entire game. Very low cooldowns, very easy to hit skill shots. The Impale is a little bit harder to set up with, but the Burrow charge into the Impale makes it basically a guaranteed stun on whoever you're looking at, unless they have the fanciest of feats. And on top of that, I do think the Haka, while it can be used mostly just for the macro, I think that Brush Stalker is going to be used offensively very, very often. And the fact that they're banning out the Ragnaros, someone that's kind of able to play the macro game from behind, just kind of points me into that direction as well.
Ragnaros also good at forcing games to go later, which I don't think Heavy Group Therapy prefers. I think they prefer aggression, and Ragnaros can force you to be passive. The Oriel also gets banned once again, so I don't know if that's maybe one of the Wangwin's characters. We will see the Chromie come out this time in Selfrenia's hands, and T-Core brings the Chen. Again, when you're playing into something like Dahaka that doesn't have the fastest clear speed in the world, Chen can be a great pick, and he's very good at jumping on backline squishies. Characters like Falset do not like having Chen jumping on them and popping barrel, so Chen is a strong disruptive pick from the offlane to try and make these corridors a little less safe for their opponents. Because, yeah, a Nubrak impaled down a thin corridor, you might have great sidestepping skills, but if there's nowhere to go, there's nowhere to go. But we see Stukov and Zeratul, and no corridor will be safe with puddles, invisible guys, and the Haka bushes all over the place. I would be terrified to walk into a bush into any of these heroes.
Yeah, I mean, I would as well. But I am noticing, and Thrall locked in for Raptor here. Okay, so one issue I'm already seeing with Pepegas on ice is their clear speed is incredibly slow. Their push speed is bad. Chromie's really the only one that can shove in waves. Joanna can help a bit, but Chen, very strong in the 1v1 duel, definitely not as strong, especially as Dahaka, when it comes to clearing out those waves, clearing out those neutrals. And Thrall also more of a duelist than that macro player. So going to be interesting to see if Pepegas on ice are going to be able to hold their waves incorrect.
Then we'll let you guys see the draft screen here. So this is the Div C Finals. We have a 1-0 lead for Heavy Group Therapy. Both maps so far have been chosen by Pepegas on ice. Now, interestingly enough, every team that chose their map in the previous series with Heavy Group Therapy won their map every single time. And this time, it already has changed that particular trend. But without further ado, in the blue to the left side of your screen, we do have Pepegas on ice. Peas is on Anduin, Raptors bringing Thrall, Sylphrenia is on the Chromie, T-Core has brought Chen, and Tomjin is on the Johanna. Toki, tell us about the red team.
Yeah, now in Heavy Group Therapy, we have Bird on the Zeratul, Teal on the Anubarak, the Wangwin on Stukov, Moby1 on Dahaka, and bringing up the rear is Exian on Falstad, and it is a frequent flyer Falstad, so again, going to be that auto attack scaling coming out from Heavy Group Therapy.
We do have Nerubian armor for Teal, the enhanced agility zoom, which gets a special value on this map where there are bushes everywhere, and the low blow Stuko. On the other side, we don't see the new buffed Laws of Hope. It will once again be Zealous Cleric Flashlight build, which works particularly well on Tribute channeling maps. We've got the Rolling Thunder from Troll, great offlane pick. It looks like they're coming to gank, and a good condemn into a good route, another route. They cannot finish Moby-Wan though. Exune comes up looking to punish a little bit or just push them away. from the other offlaner, you could almost say. On the flip side, T-Core has been ganked, but Chen can be hard to kill in the early game before you have a lot of damage. And Zeratul as a scaling hero, between the Zeratul and the Falstad, I would say that it's going to take a little bit of time for the team of HGT, the heroes, to really come online. So I'm curious to see how that will affect their generally quite aggressive playstyle. But we do see the Shadow Hunter for Zera. We have Power Word Shield for Anduin, Time Walker's Pursuit of Lucine, and the Storm Stout Secret Recipe. So healing for maximum health when he hits a hero with a basic ability, which is a bit more of a team fight ability than some of the other options. But, sorry, going back to my previous point where they have scaling heroes on an aggressive team, Toki, do you think it's going to affect the way? Do you think HGT will change the way they played from last game? Or do you think they're going to continue being aggressive, just in a very measured fashion?
I think they're going to play a little bit slower. I mean, this map in general just kind of allows that kind of playstyle. It requests that kind of playstyle. And very possible that could be why they decided to do that swap with Moby1 and with the Wangwin. It's not necessarily about that those hero pools. It could be just about those playstyles. Moby1 definitely seems to be pretty solid and just being the anchor right now, because they did bring Moby1 up to the top side, whereas Tiger is in the bot. So both sides just kind of using their offlaners to just hold pressure, hold waves. It's not about shoving in. It's not about applying pressure. It's about absorbing the pressure coming out from the other team.
And in the mid lane here, this is a bit of a lesson about when you take your camp. If you take your camp first and then don't defend it, you give your opponents an advantage. Now, interestingly enough, life is hard when you're Dahaka into a ranged attacker, even if it's Chromie. Now, he does get locked in, manages the burrow before the Sandblast set. Is he going to try and get the drag? He does, but he will hit a minion instead of the Chromie and is forced to pop his crate. In the middle, Teal and the Wangwin are defending, and they're just going to let this push. Tomjin does get to take the tribute for free. No one is particularly concerned. The Impale will come out, but it's just a moment too late, and that will give Raptor and Peas all the time they need to kill the spell defense minion, which means that the rest of it isn't really worth defending at this time.
Yeah, I actually would have really liked to see Teal and the Wangwin just completely ignore that tribute, because at that point they had a very solid push in the mid lane. They could have just stayed onto that wall, and they probably could have gotten most of it down. We see there's barely any HP left on that gate, barely any HP left on that cannon tower. I think if they were there to kind of pressure them off of it, could have definitely gotten more.
Yoon in a bit of a tough spot, but still have the barrel roll, managed to get over the wall there in the gap between top and middle. But they're looking to find Moby1. There's a time trap there. Does he still have Burrow? He does, and so he will manage to escape without taking damage. Both teams had been giving some attention to the top lane there. So there are 4 top for Pepegas and Ice, and they will try to put some damage on this wall while they're here. Tomjin now is forced to rotate because this wall in the mid has been left completely unattended, and Dwarves and Russian Zerg hybrids like to break down walls.
Yeah, and they do a great job of it too. And now Teal might be in a bit of an awkward spot though.
He hasn't yet used his bird charge. He will get out. The Wangwin silence, I would say he kind of hit a field goal there, and that he was perfectly in the center, but all of his opponents got to split so easily that it didn't maybe give enough as much pressure as he would have liked. But the job got done. Oh, Tomjin tries to hit the flare. But a lockdown on the Zeratul this early in the game. Bird does not yet have the what he needs to have that blink refresh. So for any down to 150 hit points, P's incredibly low. Moby1, does he have drag? Yes, the drag will hit and kill. But in the meantime, Chen did what Chen needs to do and kills the Falstad. So it is a 1-for-1. Bird does manage to capture this, does get jumped on by T-Core, jumps out. But now they've got a silence on the Johanna, incredibly low, the drag back into the silence, and Johanna, the Crusader, goes to the Hells to say hi to Diablo, Mephisto, Bale, and whoever else is down there.
Yeah, I mean, it was a pretty close fight. 1-for-1, I believe it ended up on.
One for two, I think, yeah.
1 for 2? Oh, I thought that's like, oh no, you're right, that was 1 for 2. Okay, but yeah, either way, heavy group therapy, they are going to get a slight advantage for it, and they're going to utilize this tempo too. They're already on their boss camp, and Pepegas on Ice, they haven't started theirs at all. Now, heavy group therapy has no way of knowing that, or as they say, that bird's going to be able to scout that out. So they could try and potentially contest this boss, and it does look like that is the plan. They're going to start roaming straight down, and level 10s are about to hit as well. This could be a great opportunity to steal away this boss.
Still a half level away, and if I'm Pepegas on ice, I reconsider this call because Heavy Group Therapy are here with 10s. There's the Cocoon on the Thrall. Tomjin walking up to the Wangwin, but he's all alone now and taking a lot of damage. Raptor had been Cocoon. The tongue will just miss as Dahaka is time trapped, and Bird is killed by Tikor once again off screen. So well played, but that means this boss is just thumping the top lane, and I really hope you can't hear my dogs barking right now because I think my sister's home and they're turning into little psychopaths. Another team coming out. Teal takes so much damage right off the rip and is forced out. Earthquake will pop. The isolation does hit Thrall, but Peas will rotate in. The Mighty Gust is used to disengage, and this will be 2 tributes to 1 in the favor of Pepegas on ice. Although, again, they've lost the fort to a boss, and they're just now re-rotating toward theirs. But they have no damage there right now. Chromie's going top, and Thrall is just rotating there now.
Yeah, they should be able to secure this right now. Teal's gonna be there to scout, could get in the way, but it is a bit dangerous because Anubrak, like we saw at the start of that previous fight, one of the squishiest tanks in the game, but it looks like the fight is gonna be coming out after all.
The Pale hits 3 again in a tight corner, and they're putting a ton of damage on Tomjin. The Iron Skin does come out, the Cocoon is on the healer, and Tomjin does not have, he barely misses getting stunned there. We have a 5v5 now. Everyone's here. The Slowing Sands is out, but they do kill Tomjin. But now the Wangwin gets caught as well. Raptor kills Stukov. It's 1-for-1. Out comes the Light Bomb. It hits nobody with a good burrow from Moby1. They're not trying to take this boss. They're just trying to prevent their opponents from capping it. And that's twice now that it's just been delayed. And in the top lane, the Catapult's now pushing. They're losing Keep Gate. No, that looks like they'll set Chromie, but that means they have to forfeit the next tribute because Johanna has just come back to life and is walking in now.
Yeah, and I mean, we're seeing just the repercussions of that. So much soak was missed. All of those minions just dying to the wall on Pepegas on ice. Pretty much most of this lead is entirely from those missed waves. The only real difference is that boss that was taken for Heavy Group Therapy, so they do have a little bit of an advantage for mercenaries, but just kind of shows how important it is to have that passive pressure, that little bit of a push. And with Heavy Group Therapy being able to take that second tribute for themselves, things are going to get really spicy for this next team fight because whoever gets it gets the curse. And the curse is definitely one of the strongest objectives in all of Heroes of the Storm.
And the minion lead is over 1,000 right now for the members of Heavy Group Therapy at the moment, and only 13 stacks of Frequent Flyers, so Falside is also not getting a lot of value on this talent. But yeah, I mean, the different ultimates that we're seeing do see Might of the Narazim on the Zeratul. It's going to be Flailing Swipe as opposed to Massive Shove for Stukov. Blessed Shield, Light Bomb, Earthquake, Wandering Keg. Yoon takes a lot of damage from that Dragon's Breath, though. This next tribute is critical. Both teams want to have wave priority before they go into this. They don't want to lose anything in what might be a protracted fight over the tribute.
Yeah, but the fight's definitely going to be coming out here, and Teal actually has a really advantageous position. It's kind of holding that inside quick rotation that Pepegas on ice would want, but with Tomjin taking that forefront, they're going to be able to make their way in anyway. So now both sides are going to be here. Everyone except Moby1, but Breaststalker is available, so big 5v5 team fight should be coming out.
Kind of a cute play there. Tomjin missed the flashlight, the shield glare onto Bird, so we just walked up to him and used the Divine Hammers instead at 13. Now again, Peas gets jumped on by Teal, but he's all alone. The Cocoon is onto, but in the back, Keg is pushing back the healer and Exune. Peas gets incredible. The stun onto Teal and onto Bird. They're looking to kill Sophronia, but that will be Zeratul down first. The silence comes out attempting Teal. He's got the spell. He's got his shield up. He'll live for now, but the health bars are now truly favoring the members of Pepegas on ice. The Mighty Gust will come out attempting to save Moby1, but he'll get caught in a time trap. Another big silence from the Wangwood, but now they're down 2 members. And the area control that we're seeing from Pepegas on ice is giving them a big advantage. Now Exune is looking for an opportunity, will throw the Hammerang, but it's taking a lot of damage for doing so. The silence will come out onto Johanna. Chen was looking at coming in as well, but that is captured by Chromie, and the curse is on Heavy Group Therapy.
And let's see how much value they're going to be able to get from this curse. They were behind on the macro play due to that boss, but this was definitely going to be their opportunity to not only come back, but get ahead. It looks like this top fort already going to be getting taken down, and massive wave building up over on that bot side. Moby1 going to be able to clear that out, but it's still going to be a lot of pressure coming in from Pepegas.
Bird and Exune have been looking to take out Raptor here, but he manages to get safely under fort. No, they want the gank here. Oh, but the W. They're gonna try finishing it off here, but no, the isolation misses as well, and that felt kind of desperate. They had 3 members, they used an ultimate, and they were not able to stop them. And now Raptor's gonna try and punish them as they attempt to back. Oh, but now is this aggressor from his side? Okay, no, he gets out as well. The Pepegas and Ice are looking to steal the boss out from under their opponents, and it looks like they just don't have the resources on Heavy Group Therapy side to contest this at the moment.
Yeah, Raptor doing a great job of stalling out those Hearthstones. And because of that, Heavy Group Therapy, they're just not going to be able to bring their members back in time. So this so far, the bottom boss has kind of been feeling a little bit safe because this top boss is already going to be taken down twice before anyone was able to take down the bottom one. But going to be a lot more pressure coming in for Pepegas on Ice.
Noticeably, 16s are in first for the members of Heavy Group Therapy, but they're not able to use that advantage as they're forced to defend their own boss in the top lane. Meanwhile, T-Core starts the bottom boss, so this will be a rotation into a double boss for the members of Pepegas on Ice, who with just about 2 good team fights in a row have put themselves in a much better position than they've been in the early to mid game.
Yeah, but one thing that they do need to be a little bit concerned about is, yes, they managed to even out the game, and maybe a little bit more than even out since they did also get the wall on the top side. But now they're on 0 tributes. Heavy Group Therapy, they still have the level advantage, and they're still on 2. So if Heavy Group Therapy are able to get that curse going in their favor, they can definitely take their lead right back. But again, another just solid rotation by Pepegas on Ice with their boss. No one's there to defend it on Heavy Group Therapy. So basically everything I said no longer matters anymore. They're going to be able to take this bottom fort and get themselves that structural advantage.
They do only have 4 here, and it looks like the Heavy Group Therapy wants to have at least some level of engage. Teal gets caught by the Chastise, though, and he's taking a lot out. Bird will come in. Out comes the Light Bomb. It will only hit 1, but that 1 is enough. Teal is killed as we actually see a lack of synergy. Exune pushes his opponents out of the Wangwin Silence puddle, and Bird not able to do as much as he'd like to there. Now, 16 is in most people I've heard will say that the Zeratul comes online. But you can't just walk into a team with a Johanna and a boss and an Earthquake that's going on. You can't maintain your invisibility or your movement on Zeratul into the Earthquake. So I think the EQ Thrall is actually a very smart change of pace. We normally see Sundering, but EQ really does put a crimp in the Zeratul's plans. But this next tribute also very, very important. I think we'll see another 5v5 here as Teal's back in about 5 seconds.
Yeah, and again, that Earthquake is just so powerful. If you're not looking for the burst and you're just looking for one team fights, it is definitely the choice of Heroic for that Thrall. But like you mentioned, all 10 members are going to be up here looking for this tribute. Could be the curse for Heavy Group Therapy.
They're doing everything they can to delay. The isolation will come out. Moby1 forced to pop trait as the rest of the fight is happening as well. A lot of spells come out, not a lot of damage yet. A great tongue onto Thompson, and he will die. In the back, Sobrenia is being grabbed by Bird. Now, out will come the Light Bomb. A good burrow from Moby1, and it looks like this level 16 threat. Teal only has 100 hit points, but he pops the shield. They kill the Anduin. The tongue is onto T-Core that lasted for so long. He has popped the stagger, but there's only so much he can do. We might see the self-harm. No, it was Zeratul that killed Chen. We will not see the self-harm message that Chen has killed Chen. That will give a curse to Heavy Group Therapy, and that will flip the momentum of this game completely on his head, as that was a 4-for-0 for Heavy Group Therapy.
Yeah, and like I was mentioning earlier, they're gonna be able to take Raptor there, and the Earthquake actually getting used as well. And with the curse, this could be an opportunity for them to just walk in and end the game. There's still 4 members down for Pepegas on Ice.
They're positioning what they want to
value these curse can do. I mean, they should. They have a really solid chance here. Earthquake's going to be down even when Raptor's back up. Thompson can't defend this. This should just be game.
A lot of damage on the fort here. We are seeing the autos coming out from Exune. 31 stacks now. The core is down to 40. It's down to 30. Everyone except Chen and Thrall are up, but that is it. Game number 2 will also go to Heavy Group Therapy, who let their foot off the gas for a moment, and there was just that moment of shining hope. But they pulled out a fantastic team fight over that third tribute, and that took them straight to victory.
Yeah, and that fight was kind of the fight of the offlaner. Both Moby1 and Tiger just kind of trying to zone away the other 4 core, but Tiger was just taking a bit more damage than Moby1 was. That trade for Dahaka, being able to come back with full HP and being able to kind of zone them away without using the isolate, without using those heroics, I think that's what really made the difference at the start of the fight. And then obviously with the drag landing onto Tomgen, removing that big frontlining Joanna that they were playing, just made the rest of the team fight so much easier for Heavy Group Therapy.
Absolutely. And we see a W Zeratul here, the Singularity Spike, and with his ability to go around the edge, Chromia tried to position behind those top stones around the tribute, and with Zeratul's mobility, he got on her, and that forced Peas to pull her in towards the tribute where the rest of the CC and damage was. So you pulled your Chromie out of the frying pan and into the fire. Some absolutely splendid fighting from both teams, but again, just very understanding of the team fight win conditions from Heavy Group Therapy, and that's 2 games in a row where Pepegas and Ice were starting to look like they'd gotten the feel for what they wanted their comp to do, and then Heavy Group Therapy found a different level.
Yeah, I mean, Heavy Group Therapy, they're playing their compositions exactly the way they draft them. And what I mean by that is they knew that Zeratul and Falstad will need a little bit of time before being able to come online. So they didn't really contest too hard on the tributes that they didn't think they could contest, the ones that were a little bit dangerous, that they didn't have the proper setup for. They would just give those away and try to get a couple structures down instead, give them that little bit of XP advantage, which they were able to maintain even through the comeback from Pepegas on Ice. And then after that, once that level 16 hit, like you said, it's that big power spike for Zeratul and for Falstad as well. The level 13, I think that's kind of the really big talent that lets Exion start really tearing through this Chen and this Joanna. Thrall to a lesser extent, but again, having that max percent HP burn is just so valuable into any of those melee heroes. And once they got their timing down, they didn't lose too much from the first curse. They only lost 1 extra forward compared to what they already earned themselves earlier on in the game. So then all they needed to do was just win 1 fight, and they ended up winning it on the first one, but realistically, they had 3 attempts at that fight remaining in the game, from which they could have just ended from 1 single win.
Mm-hmm. We see the adaptation here from the Wangwin's Stukov as well, the Super Strain. Whenever an ally who already has his Q or the healing pathogen on them, with their stunned or rooted, they gain more health. I mean, Anduin roots, Thrall roots, Johanna stuns, just really making sure that even if he couldn't focus on one person at a time, that they would have those little pops of health that would let them last long enough that the distraction tactics of Zeratul and the disruption tactics of Dahaka would let Exune's Falstad just start to rip away at health bars. But that is a 2-0 lead for Heavy Group Therapy, and Pepegas on Ice are going to have to find their stride as we move towards game number 3.
Yeah, I'm going to be hoping for that as well. And Pepegas on Ice, they've definitely shown a couple of really solid plays in game 1. They had really good setup with that Ice Wall on the Mei. Game number 2, they also had a couple of huge team fights. And especially, you brought it up during the game itself, that Earthquake from Raptor has been so incredibly powerful. The Wandering Keg just splitting up the fight in 2, but in the end, they just didn't have that one last fight in them. They needed to get a more meaningful advantage with their curse, and Heavy Group Therapy just kind of prevented them from getting it.
So, exciting game so far. It has been one-sided, but that is no guarantee it will continue to be so. So we're going to take 5, everybody, take a bio. I don't know if the NGS mods want to run some ads here or something. We're going to take a few minutes, take a bio, grab a drink, do whatever you need to do, and we'll be right back to keep commentating with you guys. All right, I have returned. Are you there, Toki?
Yep.
Awesome. So we see the game number 3, chosen by Pepegas on ice once again. They have chosen the Tomb of the Spider Queen. We once again see some changeouts here coming. Pew Pew is coming in the offlane. Looks like Morales NPC will be on healing for the members of Heavy Group Therapy, as they look to get every member of the organization in this championship series.
Yeah, I got to get everyone their caps. It's already a 2-0. And if there's one thing they wanted to try in the finals and they were hesitant to do, now could be a good time to do it. I always find that being up 2-0 or being down 0-2, that's when it's really the time to start experimenting, trying something different, just trying to throw off the enemy team. And I'm hoping to see something come out. I know I'm hyping this up. Realistically, the teams don't have to do anything. A lot of the time it's smarter not to, but I like to get excited about these kinds of things, you know? Maybe this is where they decide to bring out the Abathur. I doubt they'll do it in Tomb, but you never know. Stranger things have happened.
Part of me hopes that we see Bird's Medivh banned because it was so strong on this map, and I'd like to see more games. But part of me also really wants to once again see Bird's Medivh on this map. It was fantastic. But I absolutely agree with you. When you're down 0-2, you've got nothing left to lose. That's the time to bust out the secret sauce. What have you been practicing that maybe you're not even entirely sure it works, but there's no sense in leaving anything left in the chamber? As for our opposing team, the only thing you have to lose is maybe a bit of momentum. Now is as good a time as any to try things out. Now, you don't want to get caught maybe styling on your opponents. That can come back to bite you, especially if you go on to get reverse swept. But, you know, there's nothing wrong with grabbing some comfort picks, some interesting things, and seeing if you can make those work just as well as whatever's dominating the meta.
Yeah, time to bring out the Cho'Gall. No, I mean, realistically, I don't think Heavy Group Therapy is going to be doing anything like that. I think there are plans working, and it's very clear to me just by watching this team play. They have a plan for their draft. They have a plan for what they want to play. They have very specific strategies in mind. So even if they do start bringing out some kind of more niche pick, some kind of less meta pick, I'd be incredibly surprised if it's something that hasn't already been well practiced, well rehearsed by that team. And it would definitely be something that they have full confidence in. They do not strike me like the kind of group to just get a little bit cocky, to get a little bit in the to get a little bit ahead of themselves and just start feeling themselves, you know. But on the flip side of that, Pepegas on ice, they've already shown a couple of plays that they can definitely make work. They've shown that mechanically they're definitely not weaker than Heavy Group Therapy. So maybe adding some kind of volatility, some kind of play that Heavy Group Therapy hasn't really had a chance to practice against could be very beneficial for them. But at the same time, like I said, there's no reason for them to do that either. They've been looking pretty solid as well. It's just so far Heavy Group Therapy has just looked a little bit more better.
Yeah, 100% agree. And I think, in a way, I think their play style benefits them a bit in terms of the way they like to play versus the way that Pepegas on ice seem to like to play. Again, Pepegas on ice are a pretty patient team that are good at setting the table to make things work for them. And Heavy Group Therapy seems to like to force teams to get disrupted and see if they can still make things work. And I think that some of the teams Pepegas on ice have played so far, that patient strategy, setting the table, making it just what they want and making that work has gone really well. I think, in a sense, there's almost a little bit of a stylistic disadvantage to Pepegas on ice so far, but I think they're able to take it back. I think on a map this small, there's a little less variables to control, and I think it's possible that, again, if they sort of set things up the way they want to, they can try to reduce the amount of disruption that they're feeling from the members, but I think that might have to start with a Dahaka ban.
Yeah, I mean, Dahaka's was an absolute knife in the first 2 games. This is Tomb, so not gonna be quite as powerful here as the other two maps, but could definitely still be worth a ban. It's a huge comfort pick for Heavy Group Therapy. It's a strong hero overall, and clearly they've played a lot with it. They're very comfortable on it. I would hope to see it get banned, or at the very least that they have some kind of answer ready for it.
So we are going to go into the draft of game number 3. This draft could mean the beginning of things evening up, or it could be the last game of this series. So keep your eyes glued, because this could be it for Div C. One of the things I like to see on this map is the confident damage offlane. The Kira, the Malthael, something that can come in from a side lane and quickly do the kind of damage that teams just don't expect to come from the off lane. Blaze can kind of do it, not so much damage of bringing in like a 2 or 3 person stun out of a vent from the bot lane that teams don't expect. But when you bring the off lane that can, so to speak, bring the pain really quickly, I think that can have a much bigger impact on a map where the lanes are this close together.
Yep, and this is also another thing you mentioned, the fact that it is a smaller map, the lanes are closer together. I think a lot of the stylistic advantages that Heavy Group Therapy had were because of that large macro play that they were able to bring out. I think on a smaller map like Tomb, they will lose some of that edge that they've managed to bring for themselves. I mean, so far we've only had Dragonshire, we had Cursed Hollow. Those are two of the biggest maps that Heroes of the Storm has to offer. So maybe this will be better for Pepegas on Ice. Maybe the comeback really does begin now. And as we head forward, those bigger maps are already going to be done. They're not going to be able to play on them again. So could potentially be the sign of a reverse sweep starting for Pepegas on Ice, though. I hesitate to say it this early.
Yeah, Caster can always hope for more games, but yeah, Alterac and Garden were banned, meaning pretty much all the huge maps are now gone. Volskaya's still around, but other than that,
yeah, but no one likes Volskaya.
So we do see the Deathwing and the Anduin banned out. For the first time, Peas is going to have to play a different healer. The Vala goes, will they ban Mephisto? Now, Bird does have a good Mephisto, and he says he's been taking notes, or he's been learning from Xanthanarium, considered one of the best Mephistos in NA. So a wise ban, as he has done disgusting things with the Lord of Hatred on this map.
Yeah, Mephisto is really good on this map. This entire map is it's very long when it goes left to right, and it's mostly very thin corridors, and that's something that Mephisto loves. You can absolutely get the Skull Missiles to land onto so many targets, and once you have that level 16 talent where it starts exploding on the Lightning Nova as well, it's just huge AoE damage, hitting onto everyone, resetting the cooldowns. It's basically just a full machine gun of burst damage.
So Teal going to play Johanna for the first time in this series after I believe it's been 2 Anubaraks. So gets kind of one of the easier tanks. So we'll get some support from the Uther healer, who also can do some tanking, and we once again see Exhune's Falstad coming into play. Now, not so valuable for the fly, but the wind tunnels in these narrower lanes can be absolutely devastating. On the far side, Sylphernia and Raptor will actually reprise their roles that they played in the last game, and maybe we'll see more value from the time traps and the earthquakes, or even a Sundering. On this map, I think Sundering can be absolutely devastating. But they will ban Medivh. No Bird for Bird.
Yeah, I mean, that's a really solid ban, but I think this game, honestly, Earthquake might still be the choice. Specifically against Uther. Uther really wants to get up close, use that Hand of Judgment, and it's Hand of Justice, sorry. And it's really hard to move back and forth, kind of kite back on Uther between those cooldowns. And Earthquake basically makes it completely impossible. So the only people that should be getting stunned by Uther, if they do have that Earthquake going, will be members that are willing to stand in that backline, be frontlining for the team. And that kind of takes away a lot of that pick potential and a lot of that chaos that Heavy Group Therapy definitely are going to want to inflict in these team fights.
HGT knowing something that we don't know with the Hammer ban. Now, I can't imagine Tomjin or Tikor are busting out the Sergeant Hammer. That's not what tanking means, but they must be worried that that perhaps Tigor would take the Thrall and the Hammer would make life more difficult. This time, Tomjin will take the Anubarak. So we'll see if the Beetle is in fact the lucky charm. And it looks like Peas will get to play Brightwing for the first time this series.
Yep. And for that Sergeant Hammer, it very well could be just the offlane for Tigor. We've seen it in a couple of the other divisions. Boomer APM loves that hero in Div V, just completely perma-banned against them. And depending on the matchup, and really most meta matchups for the offlane, it's really difficult to play into someone like that. And with Joanna being the tank, with Uther being the healer, it's just so hard to get onto the backline. Sergeant Hammer would absolutely trash their draft, so very solid ban.
Both teams going with a triple melee composition. I was going to say Anubarak doesn't like facing Sonya Ragnaros with their strong auto attacks, but having Thrall and Leo up front might be just disruptive enough that he doesn't get squished quite as easily. But these are your teams for game number 3 between Heavy Group Therapy and Pepegas on Ice. Let's see where game number 3 takes us. Once again, enjoy. So again, an exciting game number 3. And again, as a viewer, as a watcher, you kind of have to root for the one team. They've both worked really hard to get here, and it would be nice to see Pepegas on Ice show us what got them to the Grand Finals of Division C.
Yeah, I mean, no matter what happens this game, both of these teams have had an absolutely fantastic season. They've done a great job getting to these finals. They've done a great job playing through Div C now. At this point, Heavy Group Therapy, I'm sure they're just thinking they are one step away from the championship. And they want to see if they can get that clean 3-0, just that clean ending to a clean season. But Pepegas on Ice, they didn't work all this way to get swept in the end. And I'm really excited to see how they do end up playing. And speaking of Pepegas on Ice, let's get the intro going. So Tigor going to be piloting the Leoric. Sylphrenia going to be on the Chromie. Tomjin on the Anubarak. Peas on the Brightwing. And Raptor on the Thrall.
And on the right, in the red, we have Heavy Group Therapy. Teal is on Johanna. Morales NPC is bringing Uther. Pew Pew is on Sonya. Bird is on Ragnaros. And Exune has brought the Dwarf on a Duck Falstad. Let's see what these teams bring to game number 3 of the Grand Finals of Division C.
And once again, it is frequent flyer, so it's going to be that auto attack build from the Falstad. Major Falstad not existing in Div C, it seems, but teamfight breaking open.
Tomjin looking to find maybe a quick pick here. A good time trap there. And it looked like Sylphrenia walked far up as if to bait. I think perhaps there was a slight feeling, but actually had gone far up too. No one happens to die in that early fight. A lot of damage coming out now onto Teal. He's going in a ton of damage. Can he get away? 50 hit points. No. Chromie kills the unmasked Crusader. And that is first blood over to Pepegas on Ice. They're looking to chase down the Exune as well. They kill the Dwarf and the Duck. They're coming out on fire. They are proving they are not intimidated. Going down 2-0 in this series.
Yeah, and that's the strength of that Anubarak. Those low cooldowns, those simple engages just makes it so easy to get those individual pickoffs, to get those individual targets just removed off the map quickly. And they're getting so much value from it as well. Not only did they get 2 kills, they took a good chunk of damage over on the wall as Pew Pew getting taken down quite low there at the bot side.
Both teams sent their, you could say, additional offlaner, and Pew Pew was there alone at first. Raptor came down, also tried to come from a not seen angle, and I think he was surprised originally to see Pew Pew there. Pew Pew realizing Sonya, not always a great matchup for Thrall. First thing in the game, did leave after taking quite a bit of damage. So looking at level 1s, we do have Beetle builds. Legion of Beetles from Tomjin, which can help to block things like Sonya Spear. Not really too much else, actually. Most other abilities on the enemy team go through Beetles. We do the Rolling Thunder, Fealty unto Death for Leoric, which can keep him healthy. more when he's laning than when he's trading. We do have the Hyper Shift and the Time Walker's Pursuit, so once again, vision at a premium. We have Flashlight build for Johanna, Meatball build, the Shifting Meteor. Out of our Ragnarok, Seismic Slam, Furious Blow, Silver Touch Uther, so reducing damage to the armor he gives from his Q. And as mentioned by Toki, we do have the Frequent Flyer build on our Falstad.
Yeah, and already getting at least a couple of stacks. Going to be up onto 4 stacks here on the top side, but Bruiser Camp has been taken in the mid lane. And you said before, sometimes it's good to take the second Bruiser Camp, but Heavy Group Therapy still able to get a little bit of value as actually a kill in the bot lane. Tikor getting the solo kill. That should be a pretty good move for Pepegas.
The 1-for-1 always feels good as an offlane. You really start to feel like you've got control of the game if you can force the opponent to either fear you or die. Actually, just taking a ton of CC. He's managed to barrel roll over the wall. Morales NPC also managed to help, but the Molten Core from Bird is almost over. He does manage to clear most of this, so there's very little wall damage as the Meatball tickles Tomgin's tush.
Yeah, they're still able to get a little bit of damage onto this mid lane wall that they got the pick off in the bot side. And again, it's important that it was a later pickup as actually fight breaking open in the top side.
Pressure coming out. Teal's Johanna just trying to be annoying here. There's already been 32 gems turned in. These spider butts, very, very valuable. The Spider Queen is apparently dead because this is her tomb, and we're going to give her mechanical spider butts because she considers that currency. Good thing Heroes of the Storm lore makes complete sense, Toki.
Heroes of the Storm lore always makes sense. Now Tomkin going in.
And they're looking at the Ragnaros. No free escape abilities from Bird, but he does manage to get out. And Morales NPC, I've noticed him having very safe, very smart positioning. It lets him heal his teammates without getting caught. Only one more gem needed to be turned in. One more spider butt to be placed in there. Pew looking to jump onto Tikor in the bottom lane here. But again, when you go in straight lines against Leo, he just presses suck on you. And then it's you who sucks, because that tends to win most fights. Although Tomjin gets caught here, and not even the burrow charge can save the Beetle as he gets got by a concerted effort from Heavy Group Therapy to start to even things up experience-wise.
Yeah, and it's a pretty big kill to get as these spiders are gonna be coming in. The Web Weavers, now they're gonna be less of a threat. You're not as scared of the Anubrag jumping on you while you're trying to clear this away. So this will let Heavy Group Therapy just kind of position more forward, get more DPS onto the Web Weavers before they get in a dangerous spot. And they've already managed to take the mid lane, one down to half HP. Pew doing a lot in the bot lane as well. So this is a very valuable pickoff to get. Will definitely lower the amount of value that Pepegas and Ice were able to get from that first turn-in.
Absolutely, top wall does go down. Mid wall hasn't really lost much. Bottom wall does go down as well. But as one thing we often see as casters, Toki, is that it's not usually, if both teams just keep trading 1-for-1, that is going to be Pew going down once again with the slowing sounds. There's 4 people bottom. It's not usually whether or not you can hand them in, but whoever gets consecutive turn-ins tends to find a lot of value. And so being the first one to turn in doesn't necessarily mean you're winning. If you're losing on macro, if you're not killing your opponents and taking away their gems, they can just go ahead and turn in twice, and all of a sudden, every advantage you built is gone. Now, Teal has 35 gems. He needs to be very, very aware of that moving forward, because he is going to be a pressure point that Pepegas on Ice wants to target.
Yeah, they were trying to get that body block, but again, with the Iron Skin, Teal's going to be super safe. Morales NPC is going to be in the area as well. But again, this is another one of those that it's slight snowballing maps where being able to get that early lead matters so much, but Bird getting jumped on.
There's a weird combination here, and it's not Lava Wave, it is Sulfurous Smash, and they manage to kill the Thrall. Then the Divine Shield comes out and saves Bird, who's getting incredibly low. The Cocoon is on X, and the Slowing Sands and the Earthquake have slowed Morales NPC. They're looking to see if they can get one back in return. They jump, but out comes the Cleanse for Morales NPC, and Tomjin will be forced to back away as the Molten Core is also popped, so a lot of tools popped, but it leads to a 1-for-0, which does benefit, but they used a lot of resources there. Now they're going to try and catch Tikor here as well. He finds himself caught in a bad position. Luckily, only has 2 spider butts on him. Fantastic time trap pop there from the Chromie, and that will keep the Leo, well, still undead technically.
Better than fully dead. I think that's the best part, Tikar. We'll be able to Wraith Walk at least temporarily instead of fully. But, I mean, that was still a good look from both sides. It's 4-2 in terms of kills, but now Teal gonna be able to get the turn-in on the bottom side. And Heavy Group Therapy, they did lose their walls, but now this is a 7-minute turn-in. So these web weavers are gonna be a little bit stronger, and we're gonna have to see what kind of value they can get.
Now top and bottom are fully pushed in, but they're looking to collapse on Teal here. The Slowing Sands will come out, as we do see ults for both teams. We're looking at Cocoon, Earthquake, Entomb, Blink Heal, and Slowing Sands. Whereas on the far side, we've seen Blessed Shield, the Sulfurous Smash to great effect. Oh, Thrall manages to catch and kill Exune in the top. We see the Leap, Divine Shield, and Mighty Gust out as well. So these Web Weavers now have a total of 8,500 health, almost 8,600 health. And in the bot lane, Tikor is alone defending against a Spider and 3. It looks like Tomjin is looking to help out here. He can't make up his mind whether he wants help, but maybe he's just trying to stop free rotations.
Yeah, that's what Tomjin's doing. Just trying to make sure that they are aware exactly where Heavy Group Therapy wants to push. Trying to make sure that if they are going to be rotating between waves or between lanes, they have to take the longer way around. It's never worth just walking into Nubrak's face as Pew Pew forced to use the leap for doing that exact same thing.
Absolutely. Now we see 37 stacks of the meatball, but despite the meatball, as both teams have enough to turn in once again. Tomjin looking to turn in 19. A great shield glare from Teal will prevent him from turning in his 19 at the very last moment. He's looking to turn in. Tomjin uses the burrow charge, misses everything. Wasn't particularly close. The Cocoon will come out onto Johanna. The Boomerang or the Hammerang will come out. They do unlock her. She's polymorph. There's the Slowing Sand. She will pop Iron Skin, but they wanted to pop that cooldown. But now it is a 5 versus 4 as Leo is in the bottom. Both teams trying to find an advantageous way to be the next ones to turn in. With walls going down, this next one should find some value. Neo does walk in his Wraith Walk build, but the Sulfurous Smash lands on Tomjin. Does a ton of damage. Good heal there. The Earthquake will come out as Tikor's in the back. He dropped the Entomb, but he will drop all of his hit points as well. The leap hits 3. It's a huge leap from Pew Pew. That's the end of Tomjin. And they're going to get the Thrall as well. Many gems lost. They still have enough to turn in. Peas with 22 and Zilfernia with 14, but that will lead to a 3-for-0 and a full turn in for Heavy Group Therapy if that's what they want.
Yeah, Teal, I think Teal thought maybe they've already clicked it, but the turn-in's going to happen now. Oh, no, they were waiting for the siege camp to get started. And this way they're going to be able to get the camp and the turn-in at the same time. And we're talking about those back-to-backs. Now, this isn't a full back-to-back turn-in, but this is definitely going to be a big one. The Web Weavers will spawn wherever the wave is when the turn-in is complete. And since they just had that team fight, their waves are very nice, deep, and pushed in. So this is where they can really look to start taking down the first forts of the game.
It looks like Raptor wants to help Tikor punish Pew Pew in the bottom. The Entomb comes out, as does the Wolf, but she uses the leap and gets away for free. So the use of an ult for an ult, not a bad trade. As the 4-man of Heavy Group Therapy focuses on the top 4, and it will go down.
Yeah, they're going to be able to get the top. The mid lane one is going to be decently low as well. And maybe they can try pressuring it out just on their own without the use of the Web Weavers, but right now it doesn't look like that's their plan at all. And just like that, breaking the first
Blessed Shield comes out, and the smash, they kill Thrall. Nothing new. Tomjin walks forward trying to help the Thrall, gets hit by the spear. The Cocoon will come out. The Blink Heal means Tomjin will live for now. But an ultimate used, and Thrall, thinking he was safe rotating in his own area, absolutely blown away with the stuns.
They're getting a lot of kills. Now they have their level 16 as well. Bruiser Camp is going to be available, and Tomjin, I'm not sure they should be walking in. I don't think this is something they can contest. They really need the Thrall. They really need that Earthquake to really be able to win these fights.
It is taken, and the Wraith Walk means they will just walk away. And I don't even think they took this to necessarily put a bunch of pressure on the mid. It just steals experience and means they can now focus on the bottom fort. So rotating to whatever is given to them, it's looking like a real strength for heavy group therapy here, Toki.
Yeah, it definitely is. They have perfected the art of the snowball now. At the very least, Tico are going to be able to get the turn in right now. So this could be an opportunity for Pepegas on Nice to kind of start their comeback. But the issue with this map is, like I said before, when you win a fight, the way we respond super forward because your waves are pushed in. But because their bottom fort is gone, they had the waves shoved into their own mid lane. They're not going to get a super good spawn, but maybe they can get the fight.
Good cleanse there for Morales. Pew 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 does not get CC'd, but the Entomb will lock her in. She takes a ton of damage, but will be safely out thanks to the Divine Shield. Tikor almost caught there, but does manage to Wraith Walk out with some big healing from Peas. They're going to lock down Teal here. Does get Polymorph. Raptors taking a lot of damage from the tower. The slowing sands out will come the root, but they can't get enough damage on Teal before Raptors forced to back out from the damage. They will get the mid fort. In the top, the Molten Core will kill this spider with very little damage onto the fort, but the rotate is coming. Once again, Raptor ended up tanking here. Now the Beetles will start to tank. Wraith Walk there, the slowing sands. Now Iron Skin is down, but out comes a Blessed Shield followed by the Smash, and they obviously have used this before because they are amazing at it. Chromie dies, Tomjin dies, lots of gems lost, and just like that. Now they did lose their keep gate, but that is going to leave an opportunity for a boss for heavy group therapy.
Yeah, but there are still 3 members up, and one of the members of group therapy, Pew Pew, is on Vision in the base, so this could be a dangerous take. All their heroics are down. Their main team fight is just going to be that Sulfurous Smash with the Blessed Shield, so this could be an opportunity. Tikor gonna go in and try and steal it, but we'll just back away instead. So heavy group therapy, they do lose 2 of their forts, and they do lose a good chunk of that keep in the middle, but now with an extra turn in, this could be a very large power play for heavy group therapy.
Well, this also gives them the opportunity to hit 20 while their opponents are distracted by something else. And so, oh, another Blessed Shield followed by the Sulfurous Smash. Peas manages to use the phase out, but it doesn't save the Fruit Fly's life. Cocoon will hit Bird, but it doesn't matter. The boss is smashing away at this gate. Chromie gets caught, uses timeout. Out will come, and they catch Teal in the Entomb. Lots of damage coming down onto the Johanna. She uses the Iron Skin and will get out. The boss is down to about 10% life, but they kill the Thrall. And one team's melee heroes seem to be getting quite a bit stronger, although they do have about an 8% stat difference with a 2 level. The leap onto Chromie, she's instantly dead as the Divine Shield makes sure that Sonya does not get further targeted. And this is looking like it's going from bad to worse. They want to end the game here. The other spiders aren't close, but it's 6 more seconds before they have their healer, and Tomjin and Tico are just making sure they're at full health for this defense. The boss is down, and that is the best they can hope for. Peas comes back out 15 seconds before they'll have Thrall again. Out comes damage from the core. Pew Pew getting low. Jumps. Out comes a smash. It's so much damage, and Tomjin is destroyed by the Sulfurous Smash. And you rarely expect to see the Ragnaros bring smash. It's so rarely chosen. But the damage from the core was enough. And it's going to be a rotation. They do hit 20. They're looking at this mid keep, but they're not quite ready to commit to the core just yet. Now, 25 seconds left on a Nubarak. The 4 remaining members of Pepegas on ice will gather their health, as in the top, the Molten Core is popped. So it's a 4v4 plus artillery.
Yeah, but they have a really good position here. Heavy group therapy all keeps all structures down. And again, they still have level 20s, and Leaf gonna come out.
The jump comes out, a good stasis there by the Chromie. A good wind tunnel comes out, locks Peas away, tries to blink heal and does, but that means Chromie is forced to die. Pew 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 just hammering away on the core. Out comes the Entomb. But that's the end of Tomjin. That's the end of Sonya, but Union has 49 stacks. Kills the core, and it is a clean 3-0 from Heavy Group Therapy to be the champions of the Division C Season 19 Nexus Gaming Series.
I mean, there's really not much to say there. Heavy group therapy, they've definitely deserved this win. They came out swinging, and we said that game 3 with the 2-0, that might be where they can bring out those hidden strats. I think that the whole Sulfura Smash is definitely one of those hidden strats that they were able to bring in. It definitely, we're not expecting it on the side of Pepegas on ice. And that combo Blessed Shield into that Smash basically burst down anyone who was standing in the front. Huge respect to Heavy Group Therapy for putting that out there, and huge respect to them for being able to get the clean 3-0 sweep.
And some fantastic plays. I mean, not enough can be said. Pepegas on ice get beat 3-0 in what might be one of the most even 3-0 series that there is. They had really good fights late in games. They made it to this series on total merit, but it really feels like Heavy Group Therapy didn't just come into these playoffs motivated, but they came to this series absolutely ready to bring the fire, and that is what they did. So with that 3-0 win, we will see if we can't get an interview with the champions, your champions of Division C. Let's see if they have gone into El Labay.
Hello.
Bird, welcome back. We just talked to you guys a few days ago when you had a tight 3-2 over Bad Rats. Tonight, your team came out incredibly motivated. A 3-0 over the other finalist team, Pepegas on ice. How are you guys feeling after that such crisp execution?
Oh, we're really great, yeah. Shout out to Bad Rats and also shout out to Pepegas. We did a lot of prepping for them. Like, we scrimmed them a lot. So it's a lot of mind game, like what to ban and stuff like that. So they're really good team, really good people.
Yeah. For real. We love them.
I'm heartbroken that they banned your Medivh on this map, but I 100% understand why they did.
Yeah, I get it. I've been wanting to play Rag all season, specifically for the Smash. I am a diehard Rag Smash fan, so ending the season on a Rag game is a dream come true.
So we know what you'd pick on a Rag Smasher pass. Got it. All right.
Yeah.
I mean, I could ask a bunch of questions, but I'd honestly like to hear from you guys. You're the champions of Division C NGS Season 19. If you just kind of want to go down the line and just each of you tell us what you loved about the series or what you loved about the season. You guys are the champions, and it's your turn to talk.
I think I'm going to kick it off with Moby.
Aw,
How you feel?
me?
Take care of Q1.
The vibes guy.
No, this is my 1.2 seasons on this team, and having Teal come on this season, fantastic shot calling, really bringing us all together. Bird does a fantastic job of captaining and making sure that we all get play time and that we're all coordinated. That has just been absolutely fantastic. And big shout out to my wife for supporting me and watching. So thanks, baby.
Oh. Who's next? Teal. I heard a shout out for Teal, so Teal goes.
I don't know what to say. It's like everyone put a lot of work into this season, like a lot of grinding during like off season. I don't know. Everyone just did a really good job. I can't really pinpoint like one MVP because everyone's is a MVP in my heart. You know.
Yeah.
I'm just glad everyone like compared from like last season. This season is like such a big step up.
Indeed.
Yeah.
Who's next? Nalo, are you staying muted? I'm calling you out.
Oh shit. I mean, oh darn.
We got your name right this time, buddy. I called it in the first game. It is Nalo. I mean, you did get switched out
Fuck
for
you so much.
the Wangwin.
It took me half the season to get it right, so I don't blame you guys.
It's so great. Respect. I appreciate it. And shout out to the Wangwin and Mao, Morales and PC for healing the butts off to win these games. Yeah, it's been great. It's been great healing these guys. Season 2, this one's a lot better than last season was.
This guy called an Uber to get home from work in time to play this match.
You know, it's the little things you do for your friends. I mean, you know, your teammates. I mean, your coworkers. I mean, you know, who are these people again? I don't know. I just pull up and heal them.
Nice. All right, who's next victim? Yoon.
This is my first time winning something on NGS. I'm feeling pretty good with this team.
Congrats.
I think we can achieve better things. Thanks. God bless.
I think a couple times Toki and I called out just how well you're playing and how what's the phrase I'm looking for? How threatening you were. Like, they were banning your Vala. They were always trying to pay attention to where you were in team fights. So I mean, a special shout out to you, Union. I thought you played out of your mind tonight. And I mean, you guys all looked so crisp, but I think Union especially looked really fantastic. So well done, my man.
Thanks. I'm trying my best. Well, if they are going to ban someone, I rather they ban me instead of my friends.
That is the true teammate heart right there.
Yeah. Yoon's a menace.
Next season, we're gonna have to get Yoon on Dahaka for Braxis. He's been begging all season to play Dahaka on Braxis, so we got to make sure that happens sometime next season.
You hear that, scouts in chat?
Yeah, thanks.
So who's next?
Let me see, Uga, my OG co-captain. He's been here since day one.
Yeah, I've been here since day one as a starting founding member. Been a good long ride. Everyone's put in a lot of work, like Teal said. Shout out to the teammates of putting in the work and grinding and all our planning and just cooperation between matches and everything. But I also want to shout out to our team coach, Miz. He's helped out a lot this season.
Weapon.
He really has.
Secret weapon. Gave us all the builds.
Taught us how to play Tower especially.
yeah.
He's such a vibe guy, always motivating us.
Yeah, very positive.
Very positive.
Showing us the right way to play. Of course.
Oxy as well. Him and Miz are good friends. Oxy's arguably one of our biggest fans. I also want to shout out. I'll leave shout outs. We still have to get through this. Sorry. I want to hear from Thor.
We gotta get this on.
Thor joined us partway through the season.
So sorry, what's Thor's game name?
Thor was Pew Pew.
Okay.
Yeah, Pew Pew. You got any shout outs here? Any remarks?
Shout out to my team for putting up with me so far this whole season. Props to them. Some good games, well contested. You know, the outcome was on our side. Definitely could have gone the other way. Good work all around.
Well, not to waste your guys' time, but like I gotta give a shout out to Pew Pew as well. I've been 1v1'd early on Sonya in a game, and I feel like especially on Sonya, you feel that pressure to like start making really good plays, and I've actually started making not as good plays because I'm desperate to make the leap work. Pew Pew had some sick 2- and 3-man leaps later in the game to lock down an attempted engage. So just a way to keep your head in how you could impact the game the best way possible, even after kind of getting soloed by Tikor there. Way to go, man.
Never so good.
100%.
Yeah,
I don't think I'm missing anybody.
Banging.
Yeah, that's a squad. Morales NPC plays from Asia, and he had to go to lunch, but he's the man, and I wanted to say a couple words for him. He's an insane healer. Probably, I don't even want to see how good he can heal if he wasn't playing from Asia with that ping. One of these days, I'm going to fly him to the States and see what he could do. With some good internet, he would be an absolute menace.
Ollie cleanse with 200 pings. I don't know how he does it.
It's nuts.
How about you,
he's
Bert?
got
What are your thoughts at, my man?
I feel great. I'm really proud of everybody. People have said that people put in a lot of work this season, and it's really true. They put up with me. I can be a head case sometimes, but we try to keep the group together. I think we have a good, strong group going here. We had a lot of fun this season. I want to shout out everybody that we played this season, all of Div C, moderators, casters, NGS, Pepegas especially. We've scrimmed them a ton. We love playing with them. We're definitely going to continue to do that.
And great players. I mean, again, it can't be overstated. They may have lost 3-0 tonight, but they earned their trip to the finals. They had maybe not their best foot forward tonight, but they provided a great test. And, when the only team you've lost to is the champions, you're still a damn good team.
I mean, look at the trajectory of their season. They started out a little rocky, I feel, and they really pulled it together, and they just became an absolute menace out there to the point where they beat the #1, I'm pretty sure, undefeated team in the division. Zul'jin, also an amazing team, but dang, did Pepegas really pull it together?
And then Pepegas beat Cat on keyboard, so yeah.
Yeah, that's right. I'm sorry, but man,
I mean, that's pretty much beating
it's
rank 1, right? Yeah.
All very well earned.
Yeah. Toki, do you have any questions for our Div C champs?
Yeah, you want to go over the maps?
I mean, my main thing that I want to ask about is that sulfuric smash, Bird. So was this a strategy that you have practiced as a team? Is this something you were prepared to bring out? That's my first part of 2, and the second one is if you weren't up 2-0, say this was game number 5, it's 2-2, would you still have the confidence to bring it out?
I don't know. I don't know if I would or not. I was just like, we had some padding behind us, so I was like, you know what, if I'm gonna rip it, now's the time. We've played against them in the past, and we had played a version of it that was initiated by, was it the Tyrael Judgment? And they played extremely well into us. But I think the problem, they had Chromie, I believe, and they were dropping time stops on the ground and kind of negating the combo because there was enough time between the Judgment going off and the time trap getting set up. So they were able to counter it, but I felt like Junkrat was also a problem. I felt like the Joe shield and the Sonya leap happened so fast that it's hard to get that set up. So there's also a lot of spell armor on that team. So we had kind of 2 targets in mind. It's realistically the Thrall or the Brightwing. Ideally the Brightwing, but if anyone's out of position enough, it could be anybody. But yeah, that's something that we'd played as kind of our Storm League special. Wouldn't say it's our NGS thing, but man, do I love playing it.
Well, it looked really, really clean. I heard Teal ask about going through maps. We absolutely can do that again. This is the end of your guys' season, so we can run the stream a little longer for sure. Looking at Dragonshire, again, we're gonna shout out Yoon here. He just played amazing. The Tracer pressure on the Falstad kept him from being a global hero, which took away a huge part of the value of Falstad's kit. Did you guys assign Yoon to that, or is he just a great player who knew, hey, if I can lock the Falstad down, we've got this game in the bag?
I would say he knows how to keep the pressure on, but you have thoughts on that?
No, actually, no, really. I just watch who's the most vulnerable hero, or I could get a kill, and I just go for it.
You guys caught him right on the gate. Teal, were you the one kind of coordinating that Anub Malf Tracer jump onto the Falstad at the gate?
Yeah, pretty much. We were baiting him so with the Tracer, just so he can get out, just so he can step out for a little bit further out. And then I knew that he was gonna E back, so I just barreled where he was gonna dash back, and then we just clip him with the the mouth fruits and Tracer.
Yeah, a really, really clean mouth from Nalo as well. Really impressive. We said in the draft that the mouth positioning was really going to matter in terms of who in the game. One of the commenters mentioned at the end, Nalo, that you got the Song of Ice and Fire and that you got ice walled into Molten Breath or Molten Flame. And so they did kind of learn how to deal with you, but I mean, the rest of your team really figured out how to expose them when they really overextended to kill you. So great baiting.
For real. Yeah, bad positioning 3 times, I think it was. I died 3 times to the ice wall, which really I shouldn't have been in range for. But shouts out the team for turning it around. And yeah, when I got the roots, they were really nice. When I got the dream, it was really nice. Heals felt really good. So.
Did they
Yeah,
catch you?
just that.
Sorry, did they catch Bird by surprise in the bottom? I do remember there was a one Chromie Death off camera for us, and there was 3 of them bottom. Did they just catch you by surprise, Bird, or did you think they'd rotated somewhere else?
Yeah, 100%. I thought I had like a 1v1. I know Falstad flew in for it, and I think there was something else happening topside to where we kind of just lost track of the noob rotation. So yeah, I definitely got caught there. I was like way too far out.
Uga, how was the 1v1 versus the Deathwing in the top lane? I mean, I know that both of those heroes can kind of handle it, but I mean, he has a ton of sustain. Did you find it a bit tricky to deal with the Deathwing on the Dahaka, or did you just know doesn't matter if you win or lose as long as you keep soaking? Uga's AFK, boys.
Uga.
No, I'm not AFK. I muted because my daughter came in. Sorry. No, it wasn't that bad. I kind of knew I was kind of soak over like duel, but overall, just Deathwing has a lot more poke for Dahaka and stuff, and it was annoying to try to duel him a little bit, but I played it safely, so it wasn't like a commit.
Yeah, really, really patient Dahaka play. It's good to see. Game 2, Cursed Hollow. I was really surprised when they gave the Dahaka up in this map, and there was definitely some fights where they really managed to punish you, managed to put you in rough positions, but you got the early boss play and just prevented them a couple of times from getting their own. Were you really concerned that they would get their boss, or was it more that you were just kind of control the tempo of the game?
I think we had already capped, at least the one that I'm thinking of, we had already capped our boss, and we thought we could take an advantageous fight and let that push, but I think got us the fort, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, the idea was we knew they were there. Either we hard commit or just kind of scare them off of it while we get value top. That was the idea.
Honestly, that was a game where their fights were winning until you came online at 16 as Zeratul in the fight where Peas ended up pulling Chromie over the wall on the top tribute. And,
yeah.
And that was just a crazy fight. How difficult... I want to shout out, I think it was T-Course Chen as well. He was doing amazing work. Were you concerned that Wandering Keg Chen was actually going to make it a lot harder to be a successful Zeratul on that map?
If I time it just right, I can blink out of it. And I think bottom side, he got me. And if it's like up against the wall, there's nothing I can do. But I know on that top objective, I think he was trying to use barrel to stall out their objective channel. And I know he got me, and I think Stukov pushed into a wall, but I was able to blink over the wall, out of the barrel, and then kind of wrap around the backside, which I don't think I really did any damage at that point, but they saw me there, and it kind of changed their positioning and helped us like get into that choke, because all of a sudden they saw me in the back and Teal on the right side of the objective, I believe. So just the presence changed that fight. But yeah, the Chen bullied me in like the early game for sure. We don't enjoy playing into barrel. I don't know if anyone really does. You know.
Yeah, he's just a menace.
Ability.
Yeah, he's just a menace on Chen, and then we had to ban his Deathwing as well. Like, I don't know if you guys seen his Deathwing, but that's also a menace.
Yeah, he played at game 1 and had some really good drops and a pretty decent Cataclysm to get out of a Tracer gank as well.
Yeah, killed me a few times with it.
Toby, do you have any questions for our champions about what we saw in any of the games?
I mean, I don't really have any questions, but specifically for game 1 on Dragonshire, I want to give a couple quick shout outs to Bird and to Nalo, just on like some small mechanical things. for Nalo, always putting the entangling roots on top of the Anduin, even if the play's kind of away from the Anduin. Just kind of ahead of time predicting the leap of faith. And then quick shout out to Bird as well on the Chromie. Just kind of positioning those time stops, those time traps, on whoever gets caught out into the ice wall and just kind of completely negating a good part of that burst damage ahead of time.
Oh yeah, I think I saved Mouth from that black hole that one time, and that felt amazing. I couldn't save him the second time, but that one definitely felt great.
Yeah, I just want to say those small mechanical things, I
Thank
do
you.
notice them, and I love seeing them.
Thanks.
Thank you so much.
Well, these
Appreciate
are our
that.
Division C champions. Anything else you guys want to share about the games, or any shout-outs you guys want to do before we let you go celebrate as a team?
I always have to shout out my mom. So shout out, Mom.
No, there was no Bon Me strats this game. Was it just because you guys were winning, or?
I think we scheduled this an hour later so that was already built in.
Yeah, shout out to
no mid-match on me.
Same
Yeah.
thing. Shout out double shifts. I still haven't eaten. Still on my work clothes. So you know, we pulling up.
Yeah, shout out to Teal's mom for letting him play tonight. We appreciate that.
Well, thank you.
Yeah,
so
we did
much.
Shout out on me.
Yeah, shout out Bon Me.
And for my two dads, Teal and Yun, for teaching me for so long, and it's good having a strong Dahaka player as Yun teach me kind of the tips and tricks for Dahaka, and thanks for all of the encouraging words from you guys, from you casters. This was my first season playing Dahaka, and it just shows just all of the work that that Teal and Yun have done and helped training me to be a good offlaner. So now it's a force.
It
Heck
did
yeah.
look really, really good. Well, thank you so much for joining us, guys. Really appreciate this year. Can't wait to cash you guys again next season. I wonder if you might get bumped up one because you look so dominant, but it's been a fantastic season. We are so glad that NGS can call you guys champions this year, and I mean, that's something no one can ever take away from you. You are now official champions in Heroes of the Storm.
Oh yeah. Thank you guys so much. Thank you,
Thank
casters.
you so much.
Thank you, NGS.
Hey, thank you for the games.
Yeah, thank you for your
Global
voice
organization.
casting like back to back. And
I'm
then
going to watch the
maybe tomorrow
replay
too.
first.
The whole like Div C playoffs practically. You know. Shout
Yeah,
out, buddy.
incredible casting duo right here.
Yeah, the dream team. Good job,
Yeah,
guys.
thank you, fellas.
Yeah, thank you.
It's always a
Toki.
pleasure to cast your games.
It's always a pleasure, and I'm so glad Toki and I, if you have the time, Toki and I plan to group up on Thursday to revive the Dream Team for another massive cast. So be sure not to miss that. But for all of us here at NGS, thank you, viewers, for being here. Xanthanarium, you got shouted out on Sunday. If you didn't watch that, that's your fault, because they banned the Mephisto. So actually, I'm pretty sure I shouted out.
Yeah,
that,
I need to shout out Xanthanarium as well tonight. Thank you for reminding me.
Oh,
He's been our other coach, our main coach, to be honest with you. He's an incredible player. A great head on his shoulders. He's come in and coached us during some of our just fresh off of a bunch of losses, like the salt, the vibes were terrible, and he just navigates the situation like a champ and knows exactly what to say and how to handle all the personalities, on top of just having a wealth of game knowledge that's pretty astounding, to be honest. So
Yeah, you throw
Appreciate
big
him.
words at us.
appreciate Tezo for pulling us into the heavy organization, and shout out to everyone else in the heavy org as well.
well, there you have it, guys. These are our Season 19 NGS Division C champions. They came from the third seed this year. Not your top team in the regular season, but clutching it out, and especially coming in on fire after a huge 3-2 series just 2 days ago on Sunday against Bad Rats, to come in here this clean, swapping out team members left and right, to be your Division C champions. All of our love go out to Pepegas and Ice, who didn't get to be part of this interview. They were awesome. Also, thank you so much for being a great team, and can't wait to see you again next year. And we'll leave the last words up to our champions. But from Toki and me, thank you so much for joining us. And yeah, any last words from anyone on this team?
Love you guys.
I think that's it. Love everybody.
Yeah, love you guys.
GGs.
I'm proud of my son, Moby. Good job,
Oh,
Moby.
thank you.
Stay classy.
San Diego.
See
San
you in the
Diego.
Nexus.
See you in the Nexus. Very good.
Awesome. Well, everyone have a great night. That is it for us tonight. NGS will have this on their website. It will not be on Ohmster. It will be on the NGS YouTube channel. And other than that, thank you so much, and go enjoy yourself some Heroes of the Storm.